going. It's going. And we made it to Facebook.
All right.
Cool.
All right. So those are the flat-footed ones. Let's go ahead and get into the ones where we're going to stretch all the way up onto the balls of our feet, pushing it into your toes, nice and high. And then back down. Keep your back nice and straight again. Whew, I am having balance issues today. I think I had too much to drink yesterday.
It's okay. When I put my tunic on later, it will be green.
I was like sitting there looking, I was like, what color am I going to wear today? I was like, I wear green. I almost wore green. I was like, I think I should.
Do all the cool kids either have all linen or all wool fighting gear?
Mostly linen. I'm a big linen fan. You just, the big piece, I think, it's just make sure you have as much natural fibers as you can. I have found that we used to do a sports cotton that I used to use, which would hold up pretty well.
The trigger?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's thicker.
But
you
it's
really
thick.
only want that for like pants.
Right. It's relatively thick. Where linen, my linen holds up really well. I mean, pants and everything else wise. So.
Yeah, it's like my pants are. It's like a cotton something blend from Joann. It's for one of the sports weight fabrics, and it's a twill, and it looks right, but it's a little thicker and sturdier than like the linens we buy from linenstore.com or any of that stuff, or fabricstore.com.
Yeah, but almost all my normal Taz over ones are all linen.
Joann is having their annual super linen sale right now, so all of their 100% linens are like $7 a yard right now. They don't have a huge selection, but if you just want some, they've got really nice natural linen.
Yeah.
I'm doing leg swings now.
My legs are tight.
Yeah.
My ankles are rough right now too. Whew. Again, if we're really good, we do this stuff after practice and get your big stretches in. Right now, it's all about the little stuff, getting them worked out.
Here we go. When we get to the part at the end where we're doing a lot of talking about philosophical
We
things,
can do it while stretching?
stretch while talking about philosophical fighting things. Fight theory, if it were. Oh, and before it kicks on, I'm going to disable my air conditioner.
Yeah, go ahead, turn the air conditioner off.
That is not my phone.
All right, let's see how everyone else looks. Everyone's looking pretty good, ready to go. As soon as she's back in, we'll go ahead and kick up the drills. Where's the wife and the kid? Keep it cool.
She's got a orange juice.
Gotcha. All right. Hopefully you guys all have a nice place. I know it's going to be relatively hot here. I think it's supposed to get 89 or something. The problem is the humidity. But the good part is we got some clouds today. So I'm looking forward to less sun than last week. So thanks for a number of people have been sending in some videos of them fighting and things. keep sending them because it's helping me go through some things that that need to be added right now, and that's today's part is really building that fight, using the tools we have to build that fight, adding a few additional tools into that space. But I want, we're into that space where we're starting to think, and the reason why the reason why we want that thinking kind of pulling from last week into this week is we want to be able to start understanding what is available for us to do against our opponents and how to make it available, make it safe enough that you can throw and know that you're not going to be struck back. So we're going to burn into that piece today, and hopefully we're going to show it. Probably we'll start with Simon and me and Louis and whoever else. We're going to go in and we're going to talk about it, and then as you guys start getting a chance to work with other people, you can actually practice some of that. So.
I locked the door.
All right. Let's go ahead. Let's get this started again. Let's try to get some speed on this one. We're not going to worry about perfection of body. We're just going to work on a little bit faster.
All right. That means I'm going to run through them a little faster. Y'all have been doing this a while, so I figure most of you or all of you know how to do them by now. But if you need me to slow it down, let me know. So keep it running. And backwards.
All right.
And so actually, I'm going to ask a question. Since nobody pinged me to tell me that you would like to not be on Facebook, how would people feel about going grid view for a little bit?
That helps us watch you.
As we run through these. Cool.
And again, remember, please, everyone, and each of you have been great about talking, pinging me or others. This is a really open conversation. There's no stupid questions. If you feel like you're doing something wrong, that's perfectly fine. We're here to help. So let's make sure, keep it open. That's the best way to have a good practice. Right?
All right, next one is hopscotch. The jumpy one. Whew. Yeah.
I always hate that one. That's it. Remember to keep those knees nice and bent. That's the way. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Nice, Craig. You're jamming. No, you're fast. Oh, nice change up in the center. That was great.
Nice.
Sorry, if people didn't see it, Craig did a really nice. He turned around, right in the center, and changed directions. That was awesome.
Okay, let's move on to our skier drop step, gather step thing. This is just our basic feet apart and back together. You see this line in the grass that we burned
I
in
know.
by leaving this thing out here? I have to wait. You should have had this playground.
I have a feeling.
This just becomes permanently and forever. We'll let it go for sure. And yeah, don't forget backwards if you've got the
And
time.
switch foot if you want.
There is no switch foot.
Oh, I swear, this time I kept my feet always straight.
Oh,
Like I went from right to left.
gotcha.
Whew. Nice job, Margarita. Very nice.
Looking good, folks.
Yeah, everybody's looking great here.
Are you saying you keep the same foot forward on each one of these? I thought we switched each side.
So you can.
You can do either one. What's most important is that you know in your mind what you're trying to do, and then you do that.
So here's just switching back and forth. Perfectly fine. You can literally switch and keep it. This time I'm keeping my left foot forward. So you can switch either way. As long as, like Slide said, as long as you understand what you're doing.
It's like if you know which one you're doing and then you do that, it's all good. And they're both valuable things to practice. Alright, so I see a couple people still going. We'll let them finish their run and then we'll move into the next one. Alrighty, so now we're going to do the same thing but wider. So this is our completely on either side, and you can do the same thing here with either keeping your stance or switching it. Decide which one you want to do and go with it. I tend to stick with one stance the whole way. Keep my left foot forward at all times.
Oh. So this stance is this work one here is the fundamental of pretty much something I would do all the time. So it's just pretty much
This is the one he's been teaching me forever before we ever really understood a drop step at all. We were already doing it, we just didn't know that's what it was called.
The reason why this one is good is because it's all about getting on the outside of your opponent's feet.
Okay, moving on to the next one, we're doing our skier with the shuffle step. So this is the outside foot move first, it comes in.
Try to keep your hands up.
At least keep your eyes up, or your chin up.
Yes. Much better here when the sun's not out.
You're all so quiet today.
They are. Everyone's just pounding through
Oh
exercises.
yeah, it's because everybody's working. All right, I'm gonna let everybody finish up the run they're working on right now. Then we're gonna move on into the same thing, but we're gonna add that angle now. So I am facing inward and then turning around my imaginary opponent with that same shuffle step.
You got that chin up. Back straight.
Ooh. Look at all those hands in the air. Oh yeah. Everybody's doing it. I love it. Oh yeah, and this one can also go backwards. Lest we forget. Louis shall remind us.
I know.
So sweaty.
Going through them fast.
Alrighty. Up next, we're gonna go into our 3-step. So this is step on the front, shuffle across.
That one again.
Yep, because this is just the click your heels together
Yeah.
version. Next, we'll move into crossing the feet. So this one isn't a huge side to side. Whew. Okie dokie. So now that we've done that, we're going to do almost the exact same thing, but this is the cross behind. So go ahead and let that foot cross now. I take my forward step and let my legs go all the way behind. So I can get much further side to side than with the other one.
Remember, if you start feeling comfortable with this, add a little speed to it. Or change it up like Louis doing a little here. Any way to push yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, anytime something gets easy, add complexity. Secret to training.
Germanicus, you're looking good. Remember I said, you be careful, sit down when you have to. I know that's a hard one. I still have to think about the switching step.
Well, because you end up doing a weird double.
Yeah.
And watch where your feet land.
Yeah, that too. Are they doing good?
Okay. Oh, so margarita, on the ones where you're moving backwards, let the foot cross in front instead of trying to make it go behind. It
Yeah.
should be easier.
But way to stay with us. You're doing a great job. Great.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
And then try to keep your hips pointing forward, but you might need to bend your knees a little bit, but try to keep your hips pointing forward.
There you go. Yeah, she's still working on that
Yep.
a little bit.
That's the
But
That's
target.
good, yeah.
And the cross is exactly right.
Yep.
And yeah, on the backwards, you see you're stepping back and it leaves that front path forward, so just swing that foot right through it. Beautiful. All right.
All right. What's our
Moving
next one?
on to the next one, we're going to do our 4-step. So remember, one smooth motion across, but you're doing multiple steps underneath.
try to keep your center smooth, going horizontal, not too much going up and down.
I know.
Quick little
The
steps.
sun comes out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go put sunblock on. I'll be back in a second.
Good idea.
No, I didn't.
Remember, you can add extra steps to this. You can reverse it. Nice, small, choppy feet. This one's really getting you used to following your balance. With small feet, not big feet.
On the first move, try to shift your hips before your feet go.
That's the way. Nice, Abelard. I like that you're running the side of the ladder. That's good. Very good, Craig. That's the way to go. These look really good for you. You're doing those perfect. Yeah, nice stuff. Lateral in and out. You know what those are? Remember. That's it. Oh, yeah. No, that's a jab step, so lateral in and out. Oh, sorry. Lateral in and out. Nice and fast. And then back the other way. These you can really push fast. Abelard, make sure your shoulders aren't pointing down to the ground. I want them up. Straighten that back. You'll put less pressure on it. Angie, that's really good. Go fast before she's back. 2-foot runs.
That was at the beginning when I ran to turn off the AC before it could come on and be loud and obnoxious.
Too funny. All right. All right, let's get the next one in. Everybody's looking good. And then we're going to take a real quick, just grab some water, and then we'll actually grab water right now. Everybody make sure to get a drink.
I had water inside, so I can have a coffee.
Got a message from our Grayson Cat.
You know, I'm happy it's
Better to
done for
linger
her.
longer.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to be posted up everywhere. These guys will follow up with something. Because she was definitely a major person for us. All through everything. For Bernie and the group. And the Canton. All right, we got our water.
Keep bringing me.
Seems like everybody else looks like they're back and ready. So,
The slave driver keeps us going.
that's right. Forward and backward, in and out, out. Out inside and in the middle.
Nice and fast. Keep your head up. Keep your knees bent. You can go.
I did this one.
Oh, did you? Okay. Burn it through him.
I've been showing cast.
Oh, good. I know he wants to try to get his armor going today, so.
We'll get there.
I'm not sure I can move that fast.
And backwards.
Oh, yeah. What I would do. You understand. My biggest problem with trying to go that fast. Go fast.
Woo!
You gotta work up to it. Yeah.
That's the way. Nice side. Nice, Greg. Way to put those feet. Yeah, Angie, the great. You're getting faster at these. That's awesome. Really nice job. Paul, you feeling good? You feeling good?
On the mute button. I'm waiting for the thunderstorm. It's horribly humid here at the moment.
Oh, I know. Same here. So.
But the steps are working.
Good. That's the good part. All right, on to the next.
Next one, we're getting into our jab jumps. So 1 foot forward back, we're hopping in and out of the ladder. Oh.
Take a message.
Woo! This is harder when it goes faster. Funny that. Woo.
When that sun comes out, it's a burner.
Yeah, that's why I have a parasol now.
Nice switch that.
My solution to sun is hide from it.
Nice, Angie. That's the way. Remember, just make sure you're not popping up and down on these, everyone. So we don't want this. All right, we want forward, back.
There
Keep
will
that head flat.
inevitably be a little bit, but no big bunny hops.
But everybody, for the most part, is doing it good.
Okie dokie. Onward to the switch foot. Now we're just doing this one. Louis just flowing right back into the other direction.
Whew. How you feeling, Nani? How's that arm?
Well, get used to wearing it again.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Alrighty,
where do I
moving
find
on
that?
to our
Well, I'll get it
next
to you.
one.
Okay.
Gonna do our 2 forward, 1
all
back, or
Pretty sure
bigger
the
forward,
step is
smaller
online.
back.
So we did in the class. Okay. So long jumps. Yep. So yeah, we'll put it all. Okay. These are nice, good agility stuff. Yeah. Well, and it really helps.
Yeah,
You understand your center ballot better.
yeah. Since I tend to be a little bit of a tank and I
Yeah.
just flop and I'm there,
Exactly.
I need to work on this type of thing.
And it's better. You'll find that when you do lose your balance, you'll catch it better.
Don't forget to do this one backward.
Even in real life.
Just
Yeah,
the wrong
oh,
color.
yeah.
As we get older, that's harder and harder, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And actually, what I found interesting, I was looking at some of Duke Mark's Backyard Basics videos, and one of his most recent ones is centered around a drill that is, he describes it differently and does it slightly differently, but it's basically that backward forward thing. He's focusing more on the big backwards jump and then immediately come forward, because he's framing it as you're voiding an attack and jumping back in, which is what you would do with that. So if anyone's interested in seeing, you know, a different sort of take on the same thing, go check out Duke Mark's Backyard Basics.
Keep in mind, this is a guy who can run backward in a J faster than he can run forward. It's scary.
Yeah, you're gonna see him doing things that like he can do it to a preciseness level that no human should be capable of. But it's a really good illustration because he can do it real perfect.
Yeah, he's probably one of the best movement guys in the SCA, has been for a long time.
Basically, this guy can win crown whenever he wants to. Whenever he's in the list, it's pretty much automatic.
What were you saying, Grimmer?
Isn't the one with the big backwards the wrong boulder?
Yes. At least for us it is.
When you throw that, don't hack out.
But yeah, no, I recommend checking if you want more footwork from a different perspective, a different, you know, school of everything. Duke Marks did a bunch of footwork drills in his like Backyard Basics, sort of the late 50s, because he's numbered them all. They had a number of them in there. They're all real good. Would recommend. All right, and that leaves us with our final one of the day, the turning step. So line it up, back foot, step down the ladder, and flip.
Make sure the first step is perpendicular.
This is giving straight to backwards.
Just changing them up.
All kind of madness. And don't forget, this one has a million variants. You can do stepping with the back foot, step with the front foot, switch your stance, step with the back foot, step with the front foot. And then all of those you can also do backwards. So whatever level of complexity you need, it exists. And of course, you can add in the changing directions in the middle, changing feet in the middle, all kind of stuff. This one is ripe for variations.
All right. After you're done there with the one foot, switch your feet, do it the other way. Let's get used to those feet. This is all about being nice and smooth in here. Feel comfortable. It should be almost feeling like you're gliding. Right? This is you in the dance move. It's because it's important in the fight when you make that connection with your opponent and you're controlling range. And Paul will be talking about that a little bit later.
And speaking of Rongbalder, we must have summoned him by doing that because he just walked in.
Awesome. So the good part about Rongbalder here is now we can do the lefty work as well. So you guys get to see that. I usually use
from someone who's actually a lefty.
I usually use lefty stuff, lefty defense when I fight two weapons people.
We must have said his name 3 times and therefore invoked him.
Exactly.
The summoning ritual works. It worked on you at armoring the one time.
Yeah.
It works on him. Who are we trying next?
All right. Trying the other foot. For those that already done it, go ahead and get some water.
Then what should we set up for next?
We are going to bring a Pell over. Actually, we're going to do people.
Okay, people pelts. The best kind.
All right, so that's our ladder drills for today. Now we're going to deep dive into a lot of conceptual stuff. In other words, we're going to talk about building a fight. If some of this is going to be more talk, so if you have a shaded area you want to sit in or stand in, go ahead and move there.
Want to do some stretches while we're standing around?
Yeah, and if you want to do stretches while we're talking, that's fine. We're going to go full screen so you guys can, everybody here can see the what we're doing and what we're talking about in the fight. But one big piece is everybody's fighting videos and feedback has been very helpful and with kind of guiding the class. So please keep those up because you're helping everybody else too, because these are concepts that I just haven't covered or we haven't gotten to yet. And I don't want to see everybody's, so far what I've seen, and if you've had the chance, go ahead and speak out of it, because this is the part where we all get to talk a little bit. This is where we're trying to drive to. If you had a chance to fight, let me know if you tried stuff and what kind of success. I know Angie had some early off success with the jab step that she was working on. She's working a little bit on the minute and a half drill with some other people and movement in and out of that.
The next two lessons is resort now for Ringers class, letting themselves to some nice flow drills on the hill.
Oops, hold on.
System that way.
Speaking of Duke Mark,
Yeah. Sorry about that.
just popped up.
Yeah, I saw a notification for one of his pop up, and that reminded me that I had watched that the other day.
Oh, gotcha. So,
I was watching and went, oh my God, that's what we do.
the big piece here is what I have seen out of most of the videos is that everybody's actually trying and moving a good deal. Germanicus was moving a lot, which is great because you have to try these things against other people to get that feedback. What works, what doesn't work, because it's going to be different for you than it is for me, than it is for Cy, than it is for Rongvalder, than it is for Louis. Everybody's going to have a difference because some people are faster, may present more danger to others. Some people, I like it. Squires are good. Some people,
Under it too.
yeah,
There we go.
exactly.
Haha.
Some people are a little slower and have to set up timing better. The one piece I would say what I see a lot of is people are in a hurry to throw blows. It's like they have some type of timing mechanism where if I move, I got to throw a blow. That's absolutely not the truth. You throw a blow when you believe it can hit, or you're using it to see if it's actually a blow that can hit. So what I've seen a lot is people move and it's like bang. They're just throwing it to throw it. Instead of, I'm going to move and fake. And does it open? Do I see his leg? What does that person do? Does he or she raise her shield? Do they totally miss it or roll into what we call a roof block and leave the arm open? So what's happening is everybody's just going and throwing. And then when you throw, there's a minute piece of time while you throw that your defense is weak, and that's what people are taking advantage of. So what I'm trying to today, what we're going to try to talk about, first concept is going to be probing. Part of that concept is going to be also how we keep range. I'll kind of fill that in, but we're going to talk about probing first. And part of that probing conversation is everybody wants to know what the box is or what the cube is. And what we mean by cube, and I'm going to demonstrate here, when I look at Saib and I'm fighting, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to think in my head, there's a rectangle right here in front of her. The rectangle is, top of the rectangle is top head, right? So here I'm going to get more of an angle. So,
This target,
right.
right here.
Yeah, and then the other top is that target. Guess what the bottom targets are?
Leg,
Leg,
leg.
leg. All right? And of course, the sides could be the elbows. So in this way, we actually have a rectangle in front of our opponent that we use to threaten our opponent. So if my opponent is standing here shield high, should I threaten her head? Probably not, because she already knows she can block it. She doesn't have to think about it because the shield is already there. So what I do threaten is if the shield is high enough to block her head, I might think that leg. So now I push way down here. If she's rolling to block her offside, I might push way over into this corner. So I went from this corner to this corner. That's the longest path, which also means it's the largest block for your opponent to make.
Means I have to move more.
And the more you can make your opponent move, the more opportunity you'll have to see an opening. So I'm here. My opponent has their shield up high. I drop here. First thing I see is that that sword stayed, it gives a little bit of arm here. I'm going to threaten here. Now I'm going to come up here. So I went head, or leg, offside arm, head. You notice how my box is changing, those points in a box. Here's what I see a lot of people doing. First thing is, they're not moving their target around. So here I am. I'm going to throw the head. I'm going to throw. How much movement does she have to make to block that head? Hardly any, which also means she doesn't have to use her mind to worry about anything. She can think about hitting me. We're using this as a probe to move and see how bad your opponent moves around. What I see is a lot of people not doing that. What's happening is they come in here and like, I'm going to hit this side over here. Bang. She didn't have to do anything. But I felt that I had to throw. So I throw, bang, she follows it and she hits me. Because I didn't see if she's a counter shooter maybe. So what's happening in this is, while just nobody wants to wait and just pressure the points of that box and get a feel of what your opponent's going to do. This also helps when your opponent's moving. So watch. We're going to move back a little bit. And Saib's going to press me. Here she's going to come at me. You notice as soon as I drop for that leg shot, she slowed down, didn't she? Because she had to block that leg. Also, I noticed when she went to the block to the leg, she actually leaned forward a little bit. So next time I might be like, so I used that to not only slow that motion down, but also to figure out there may be a topside head. But if I don't do anything, or I throw right into their shield, go ahead. This is what happens, nothing. She doesn't have to think. I am not a danger to her. What we are trying to do is present danger. The more we present danger, the more we make our opponent make an active block, the more they have to slow down and think. So that's what happens, and this includes what might be, and they're going to have some others, but people who really press hard. And so I'm going to give you a live example of this. I do this with Saib all the time. Let me grab my little buckler. We have somebody in our kingdom that presses constantly. Saib hates to press as well.
It's my weakness, man.
So
you all know.
So what I do is actually practice this. I will just ignore shots and try to stay on. Now, I'm going to ignore shots to the point where I'm still want to try to pick them up as much as possible, but I'm also not going to try to stop. It's hard for me not to do that, so just be aware. So here I am. I'm just going to walk in. Good. You notice she stopped me for a second, then moved out. So in that minute-and-a-half drill we learned to constantly break with our opponent. This is what that drill preps us for. And we're going to do that a little closer to the camera this time.
Sorry.
So here we are. I start walking, and then you see how she kicked right out to the side there. She stopped me. It is natural instinct to stop before you run an opponent over. So she stepped in. So now I'm ready. Well, she was ready to go backwards. She just stopped me. She's in control.
Basically just kind of stutter step, and then you can keep going, preferably to a side. It kind of depends on what's happening.
Correct.
Do mobile camera if you want to do a longer stretch of that.
Oh, Luke really can be our cameraman.
Yeah, we'll do, you know what, when we're going to try that. What we're going to do, in fact, what we might do is I might have you do it a little bit with her, and I'll do the mobile camera. Okay. But, so the piece there is, what I'm trying to bring to people is, you notice this is an exercise where we can start right here. If you have another person, you can start right here. This is, again, our like minute-and-a-half drill. And I'm just going to follow. Go ahead, go any movement you want. There you go. You see now she threw, and I throw. There we go. Good. Okay? So, again, what's happening there is, this is where that movement is important, because for a person that's just normally used to getting on top of somebody, they don't know that movement nearly as well as you do. If you're controlling that step out, then freeze them first. Now, if she doesn't freeze me first, look what happens when she steps out. Notice I can just follow her. Now watch when she freezes me. Now I don't know.
Alright, sorry I ran off camera.
So she gave me a little freeze there, and we're going to do that again, nice and slow. There we go. Right, so you notice when she gives a really quick stutter, and what happens in that quick stutter,
And or full on, I'm like, I am faking a shot, trying to make him believe I'm throwing.
and they have to block. So in that stutter is when you can actually add that movement. But what I'm finding, and this is totally normal, is that everybody uses that movement all the time, and we're missing those stutter steps. Those stutter steps will absolutely help understand if your opponent is going to stop and then you move. It helps you understand what your opponent has to do each time and gives you some more freedom on breaking those angles you want. So this is where it's important to tie in and get an understanding of what your opponent can do. So Paul, this is exactly what we're talking about. I taught what is pretty much the simplest. Good. And I taught all around one of the simplest routines. We went through this, and that is this normal falling back drill where we just take small steps, and then the falling forward where we take small steps, falling into 45s, falling into the other 45. We went through this a couple weeks ago. This is the thing I show people, and it's worked every time, is if Saib's on top of me here, go back, have that person get right on your range, and then follow you. Just follow, speed up. See, she stays right with me. Go ahead, keep going. Here we are. She's staying right with me. And then as soon as I stop and go, she doesn't want to go slamming into me. There's a personal space thing. So if you give a really quick stop and then go,
Yeah, since this is not a contact sport.
right? That stop and go will almost always hesitate your opponent. If it doesn't, then that person falls into you. So here I am. This time she's going to run me over. Bang, and then I'm going to throw a wrap. They can't throw anything because they're not ready for that distance.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised bumping into you.
So you're still controlling distance. It's just a shorter distance. And then as soon as they're surprised, watch, she bumps into me. Bang, I throw, bang. Look, now they're like, oh, I'm too close. They're literally going to fall back, and then you fall back, you're totally free again. So we're going to go to the camera here, and I want to ask some questions. And you guys, I get some answers. And then we're going to break back into the cube in a minute. So does everybody understand how that movement, here. There we go. Oh, that's the thing. Oh, you're the man. Louis pulling up a chair. Chairs. Louis, you want to jump in? Okay. There we go. So, go ahead. There's camera space for you. So, if you get to feel what's happening there is now we're controlling.
Doing my best.
So now we're actually controlling that range, including when people are falling into you, not falling into you, but you're still in control of that range. If you constantly keep a steady range, it's very easy for an opponent to follow you around. But if you add jerks into that, what happens is they don't know if you're stopping, they don't know if you're going, they don't know if you're going either side to side. So it becomes much more difficult for them to evaluate that fight. So if I stop and shift off to their foot with a, essentially a large gathering step, I could literally be around their side, over their foot, which gives me a defensive posture that's safer.
Hold on. I'm gonna just shuffle this way.
Do you want to share?
No,
Okay.
I'm gonna lean over
All right.
y'all.
So,
Turn the camera
so this
faces
is-
a little better, and then we'll all be in it.
So, again, this is more of the idea of at the beginning. This is thought that has to go through here. I'm gonna go fast. I'm gonna go slow, change that tempo, and then I'm gonna stop, and then I'm gonna go fast out again. Or I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna break right. Those are the pieces that change the tempo. And this is, people talk about this, and they don't really. A lot of people never get that idea of the change the tempo. They do it, but they don't understand it. Change the tempo is just changing how fast or slow you're doing something, and you're controlling it. So if I'm dancing with somebody, I could start speeding up, right? If I speed up too fast, they can't catch up. But if I speed up a little bit slower, they get that feel and they're still engaged. And I slow down, they slow down. I speed up, that's tempo. What we're doing with tempo is we are suddenly changing that tempo. We get them into the dance and then we change it. And what that change does is it breaks the rhythm and that tempo, and then you have an opportunity to do your movement.
Okay, so like yada, 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 yada. Psych.
Yes, 100%. That's exactly, you're almost trying to psych out your opponent all the time. So what I've seen is that a lot of people are quick moving and then throwing a couple shots. And then quick moving, throwing a couple shots. Well, what's happening is your opponent's just getting used to you moving quick and throwing a couple shots. And then they're going to figure out the speed of that and counter throw. And the shots you threw, you didn't actually evaluate if they were going to hit or not hit. What we want to do is, this is the thinking game, and this is, Rongwalder's going to talk a little bit more about this because he dives really deep into that thinking game, right? Because most people are like, oh my God, Rongwalder's super fast, and we talked about this. He's not. He makes you believe something's going to happen and actually draws you into his shot. So his shot goes half as far, which makes it look very fast because he pulls you right into it. So that's the piece that's important. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking too. Part of my own bias as a Florentiner is to put a bunch of stuff out there to make them think about something else while I'm trying to do something on them. And based on what you're talking about, it's like, okay, maybe even as a two swordsman without that static defense, I might want to slow it down a skosh to give me a few more options.
Yeah, so what happened with you, Germanicus, is that you were throwing shots on every movement, which means that your swords are out there and you have to recover. So it gives your opponent time to find those recoveries and they're throwing back. But if I fake this and then I fake this and then I fake this and they don't know if it's a fake or a throw, what happens? Then if they throw back, you counter on their arm. So it's like fake, and they throw back. So you change the tempo.
So at that point, for me, it might make more sense to throw a lot more fakes before I throw anything.
100%. In fact, it's not just for you; it's for everybody on in this video. Craig, can you go ahead and talk about this? You already do this a ton, right?
Yes. What I would like to add is, since I'm training the same thing together with my knight here, you generate a lot of power by hitting and relaxing. Sometimes the relaxed shot has much more power and speed than the really tense shot. So if you just stop and your opponent relax, and then you can throw really, really hard. So sometimes when we'll go light and be a bit relaxed, then we hit much harder than we usually do. And that's probably the same thing that you're talking about, that changing tempo, changing tension, and sometimes just completely relax and throw the sword out there, and then you can hit something because of what happened.
Yeah, and the good part there is when, in fact, and you can do this, and this is a great thing to do in front of somebody, is get their energy up and then just relax your body. Watch them relax naturally. And then throw a shot off of it. Throw a shot right into it. You understand you're going to throw a shot. You're like, bang! Right? Because your opponent's natural body, we're using all the things that naturally come to people. This is the part that Rongwalder does so well. We're using all these natural things to take advantage of them. It is very natural when somebody relaxes that they relax. So if I go, and they see that calmness coming in my body, they go, oh, the fight's done, I can get a breath. And I'm like, and they go, oh, good, bang, right there. I'm still relaxing, my guard's still up, but then I throw. So what I did is I used that place to relax my opponent and then throw. Because now they have to get defense, they actually have to retension their body. That's an extra beat that they miss. But if I keep them in tension all the time, then they're go. So I want to break. I want to bang, bang. So what happens is I'm changing that tension up and down, and they don't know when something's going to happen. So those are the pieces of the fight that I talk about is that Musashi's battle. He has your plan. There's some plan inside that. I'm going to relax and see if somebody's tension changes. If it doesn't, then I might have to do something else. Yes.
Did you get that question already?
I got a questions here
I
from
didn't know
Bess.
if you had seen it or not.
So Bess asks if we this is a great one, Ron Calder, come over. I'm just gonna, and Bess, this isn't making fun of you, but it's a great question. Bess asks if you're fighting the same people all the time, do you still probe to see what's open?
Hell yeah.
That's why I brought Ron Calder.
How do you probe?
When
they already know what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's actually, you refine probing to a really fine detail because you know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what you're doing. So now you're refining it to this tiny little thing. And in fact, when that's all we did was probe in our early days of fighting, when we were winning crowns, we wouldn't hardly move our feet at all.
I call it twitch fighting.
And yeah, twitch fighting. Everybody's like, what are they doing? They're not
just
fighting.
standing there
And we're just standing there like, that's our fight right here. And we're, yeah, and that's our whole fight until somebody makes a mistake. And they're like, okay.
You go back again.
And then you go back right into that tightness, right? So when you're fighting the same person all the time, you're right, Bess. They absolutely learn that probing. But now it gives you the advantage to really dive into the detail of probing.
To refine it. So what I find is we tend to do the exact same things, but we know it becomes a case of I know that he knows that I know that he knows.
And this is the fight right there.
That's what it becomes. So you do the probing, you see the same responses, you change your probing speed or direction, but slightly. Whereas before you might threaten an arm and then threaten a head, I might threaten an elbow and then threaten a shoulder. This is all I'm changing. And then he feels the slight change. He's like, well, that's different. I have to do something different. Then he compensates. And so it's the same fight, but it gets very, very refined. So
and it's actually really interesting because if I ask him what happens if he doesn't do any probing on me and just starts fighting, well,
I die.
That's it.
I die. That's the end of the fight.
Yeah. So if you just jump in and start throwing without a plan, without probing, without knowing what's happening, we just hit each other. That's what happened.
Yeah, it's useless. So it's even everything you normally do becomes even more so. Like when you fight somebody you don't know, jumping in is a bad idea, but you might get away with it.
That's a gamble.
When you
put
fight
that on the
somebody
table
who knows you and you jump in, they already know you, but you're not using any of the information you have. So you're pretty much guaranteed dying.
So do you notice that this goes back down to that information you have, right? That idea that we are building a fight, and then we are using a tool and you're using those tools to build that fight. But here is where the real fight is, right up in your head. Hitting them is the last thing you do. It's not the first thing. Hitting them is the last thing. It's the end of an execution, the end of a fight.
Rhonda says when you throw your shot, the fight should already be over.
But too many people believe that you're throwing to create other stuff. And some people are in their head. There are some people that use that. I'm going to throw this shot, and I just pressure that shot. Same thing. You could throw it, but they roll and throw into something else because they already figured out when I throw that, his shield rises up, and then I'm going to throw that offside leg. Because they already tried it. They went bang. Maybe they even went bang, bang, and they saw that the shield rose. They're like, okay, now bang, bang, right? Because they in their head, they understood what was going to happen. So you can still use that rolling momentum style, but inside, and some people will say they don't think about it. There's actually some thinking going on because they're recognizing that opening occurring, and then they're taking advantage of it. The key is they're not necessarily thinking about it like, hey, I just saw that. I'm going to write that down on a piece of paper, and then I'm going to go back to it next week. They are thinking of, I saw that open, now I'm going to go here. Just natural. And sometimes that's good. But you have to be careful because what happens in things like that when you're not actually understanding what you're doing, that starts breaking down, like, oh, that opened, but now I throw it and I'm not hitting anymore. Why? Well, maybe because you're not dropping your body to get that sword lower. But because you don't understand what's happening, you don't understand the detail of it, it's hard to fix after that. So this is why understanding and having that clear mind and building the fight becomes super important. Okay, we're gonna go into I'm trying to think of some ways to help you guys, help everybody here with, and you guys can fill in the idea of, and actually we can do the box drill against the Pell, and we will do that box drill against the Pell in a second.
Well, we talked about the rectangle. You haven't.
Yes, and we're going to go back to the rectangle here right now.
We got to get the rest of the cube in.
So, and we're going to add on the cube, grab my little buckler, and I'm going to grab a sword.
Is that blocking the camera?
No. Slide the chair in so it's you. Well, wait. We can just switch back to the proper camera view for this. Haha.
So we're going to show how you can do this on a Pell in a minute.
Hold on. Let me.
We can just push it back.
Yeah, this could, well, I don't know, 2 seconds of the sun. Is it just catching?
Yes. Fence line.
We can turn it upside down.
How's that?
Yeah, I think.
Is it even putting the field anywhere?
That's.
Oh, did you raise it up one?
It's up as high as it goes.
Okay.
You can put something under the front.
We can just go back.
Go back a little bit.
6 inches.
Yep.
That'd be good. Ready?
There we go. Actually, it's better over here anyway.
Yeah. There we go.
Ronvaldo was nice enough to bring us an easy up so that we could sit in the shade.
All right.
We had to get it off the camera. All right.
So again, rectangle. So in the rectangle, we were working on pressuring different zones of that rectangle. Remember, if I stay on just this side, here we are. I pressure up here, I pressure down here. There's not a lot of thought that has to be had in this because I'm only pressuring one side. In fact, because I'm only pressuring this side, she feels very comfortable over here thinking about throwing blows because this side is free. So here I am, I'm pressuring, and at any given point she can throw. But if I pressure here and then I pressure over here, now her sword is stuck. Also note how I just went, woo, and opened my head wide up. Right? Because this wanted to go this way and this wanted to go this way. So I evaluate. So in an exercise, if you have 2 people, this is a great evaluation. Take 2 points and then evaluate what opened. So I'm going to do 2 points of this rectangle. Okay, so what I noticed is she dipped sideways a little, and then I changed to the head, and then she rose into a normal stance. It was really nice. She recovered this very fast. Okay, so I'm going to do it. It turned again right here. So watch. She recovers super fast back to this head. So I'm going to do top side head, or leg down here, top side head. She doesn't care because her defense is already here. Also treating this like it's a regular shield and not a buckler. Right? Note. What I do notice is that she responds so fast that it might actually leave that leg open. So watch. She responded so fast to this. See how fast she's coming? So watch now. She's actually rising back up when I throw that leg shot. So what did I do? I didn't throw anything yet. But I learned I have an opportunity. So that's the fight. But we get into a chance of here I am, I'm doing this. I'm not really learning, I'm throwing shots, I'm not really, and then I'm hoping, and I'm trying to push into places, but I'm also losing the time that she's counter shooting, and so it's getting a lot of messed up pieces in there, right?
And the computer crashed. Well, not the whole computer, but the Zoom meeting.
So we're gonna raise this one up.
Can you guys hear me on here?
I can hear you
On the
fine.
foot.
Yes, we can.
All right. So we're gonna work on making the computer work again. Or I guess Louis is going to, and we're going to work from here once we get tripod taller.
I was wondering what had happened.
Yeah, I think our internet.
This one. Oh, this one.
spot it. Well, it's back.
All right. You have to let me know if it's in here or not. Oh, this one's not. It's okay.
All right, so now what's going to happen is, again, in a great exercise, and this is you can do right on your pill. You're going to have to use your imagination a little bit. Is on the pill, you're going to work on pushing 2 points of the box. So now I push those. I push both elbows. You notice I'm dropping into these. I'm not. Here's the problem if you use all arm. If I do this, I have to pull it back to be able to throw the next one. So you got to be a little careful when you're just using arm. If you notice, I can, so against people that don't recognize stuff very well, you may have to add more sword to get them to leave. Against somebody that recognizes stuff, here, I'll show you how small a shot can look. Did I move my sword at all? You notice she flinched over here? Okay, I'm going to really hit it, so don't let me hit you. Right? All right, you notice she's flinching, I'm hardly moving.
I'm trying not to flinch too big, but it's hard.
Okay, so against people that understand fighting, they read your body much better. And because she can read my body motions and intent, that makes her react. And this is the important part, you're making people react. So Paul, when you're talking about movement and getting a person off of you, which one thing I noticed in Drachenwald, that's a relatively big thing where it was something I had to work with Wilfried quite a bit because there was a number of mad people about not staying in range. Because a lot of the fighting at the time was, here we are, let's fight. And now what you're doing is, well, that doesn't allow you to use movement. Now you're adding movement and creating range changes. Some people are just not going to be used to it. Some people will not like it. But after a while, when you're beating them, sooner or later, the proof's in the pudding. And that's what happened with Craig and Wilfrick and so on. There's a little aggravation there, but over time, they're like two great fighters in Drachenwald. So here we are again. I'm going to push. So again, just go to your pel, pick your corners. This is a lot like, right, the drill that Uther does.
Well, the 1 through 6.
Right, the 1 through 6 drill. So I'll probably have Louis come over here. He knows it better than I do. But you're essentially picking bang, bang, right? The problem with the 1 through 6 drill, well, there's not a problem because later it's bang, bang. So you could do the 1 through 6, but this time, don't throw while you're doing it. Right? So you're essentially just moving your body. So there's 1, 1. 1, 1. So you notice what's happening is I'm changing my body. And my hands mostly, I'm not doing this. Because if I do that, defensively, how do I look? Weak. Also, how do I throw a shot from here? Very difficult to throw a shot from here.
Just talk about what a fake is.
So,
and depths of the fake.
So Louis brings up a good point. And actually, we're going to do that next. Come on out, Louis. We're going to do that next here. First, let me explain now the cube. So before, we had that rectangle in front. Head to knee. Now take that rectangle and understand, I could throw this shot to the head, or backside of rectangle is this shot. That's how the cube fits in. I can throw front of the cube to the leg, or I can throw the back of the cube to the leg. So we're thinking, okay, these are shots. Now I can fake the same way. Watch this. Here I am, and I'm going to get to so you can see my hand. Here I am, front leg block. Here's my front fake. You notice, add John, right? Here I am for a wrap. So what I did here is I start rolling my hand out a little bit, and I lean and look at the back side of the box. And now that's like, hey, I got to block that zone. So now he has multiple zones. He has this zone, this zone, this zone, this zone, all through this box. Same goes for the arm. I could throw this, or I could throw this. Front of the box, back of the box, or cube.
Oh, so the cube is how you account for wraps.
You got it.
Right.
Does everybody understand that? All right. So that becomes important. And we're going to go into fakes in a second because Louis reminded me, and this is actually super important. We went through it and learned it a lot better. Side finally has been able to add fakes to her.
So in that concept, does the cube rotate?
Everybody understands that this is a cube, and you have to pressure all those zones. So if I only pressure one thing all the time, Louis really doesn't care here. He's like, in fact, what he's thinking is, I'm going to rip his leg, I'm going to fake his leg and rip his head. Because he can think, he's free to think. I'm not making him think about anything else. If I just throw, here I am, bang. Watch what happens if I just throw a shot and I don't care. Louis just picks up the block and follows me right back home. See, right there, right inside the throw, he's throwing stuff. But watch if I just fake and then fake somewhere else. See, now Louis is thinking, oh shit, I got to block both zones. He stayed home with that sword. So here's an example of this one more time where Louis is a counter shooter. I give him a first fake and he starts throwing. Right there, see, I didn't go anywhere, so I'm home to make a block. Go ahead and throw. And then I could throw back. So here's a case where if I just threw, Louis is a counter shooter, watch what happens. Bang, he's throwing at the same time and killing me. But because I faked, I learned that he was going to throw right away. So now I stay home a little bit. And I break that tempo for that counter shooter. So now that's the idea of counter shooting at counter shooter. So now I can use him being a counter shooter against him. But I had to know this. If this is Louis a brand new fighter to me, I don't know. If I just walk out here and throw a blow, he's throwing and hitting me. Because I didn't know he was a counter shooter. Again, you notice this is all about building the fight. All right, we're going to go through Louis' piece on fakes, but side.
And that's how the switch foot could factor in too, because it can help you set up that help you set up that fake.
Yeah, 100%. Watch. Here I am. I might fake to the head, and then I'm going to fake to the deep wrapping knee. Watch this one. Hey! See, now you see how he went backwards? Because when I did that switch, he's like, holy shit. He's going to the deep side, so I'm going to fade away.
I was just gonna. There was something up in the comments. As Alessandra says, she's been driven nuts by fencing triangles, but gets it with the third dimension added in the cube.
Awesome! The cube for a win. All right, I'm gonna have Louis because I'm gonna throw him under the bus. He brought it up, and he's the good part here is he'll bring in some of those concepts of the fake because lots of people there's lots of fakes, right, Louis?
Right.
So Louis is going to talk about the fake a little bit, and that way I want to make sure you're getting a little bit of a different perspective. Louis explains things different. I think I've explained some fakes a couple of times, but I like when other people explain stuff because it comes in a different way and some people listen. So let's go ahead. He'll use me as a live dummy.
Right. So a couple different fakes. One you can fake with your body or footwork. So you can try to add tension to their body as a fake. So anywhere I can create tension in their body where they feel a little bit of a threat, then that is a form of fake. Something else, you can put pressure by like taking all of your energy and focusing it somewhere and maybe pushing a little bit with the sword. Not a lot. You don't want to really move the tip of the sword. You just want to add a little bit of tension so that they feel that, but you don't want to compromise your hand position. So if I fake like this, I'm throwing away my sword position. I can't throw from that.
Right, because as he throws forward, I make the block, but then as he comes back, I fix my block. So that's why you don't throw the sword.
Right. So I usually try to think of it as leave the tip of the sword alone and maybe push the bottom of the sword a little bit.
But you'll notice that he's really driving into that knee. That's that power. You see how that power is going?
Yeah, I'm pushing into the ground. I want him not just to react to the fake, but I want to push him into tension, maybe him pushing into the ground into tension so that he's less likely to be able to recover and go another direction of the cube.
Craig has a question.
Okay.
So do we ever talk about the concept of destroying the opponent's form?
So yes, but that's another. So destroying the opponent's form is kind of the next piece. We're still kind of in that fake part, so that the fake allows you and helps you build the destruction of their form, right? And I think that's where you're getting at. So if I have a perfect form with my hand up here, and he puts the target down here on my elbow constantly, then all of a sudden I'm here, and then he.
Yeah, and also by moving that you take away angles and you ruin whatever your opponent wants to do. You try to ruin what they want to do, so you can get to do what to do yourself.
That 100% without actually throwing. And again, you notice when we're talking about this is mostly talking about this is that mental piece of the fight. You know, we've been spending a ton of time physically doing stuff, right? Because that's where we want. But we've been slowly developing into the mental fight as well. And this is where we're at right now, is trying to help you to understand the fake, right? So that fake helps everywhere. So in the first part of the fake, Louis gave me a simple jab foot. This is used in boxing all the time.
So I added tension to my body so that it would create tension in his. Right, with the creating tension into my legs and adding a little bit of pressure into the where I'm focusing the energy on him. Right. And then so you can do fakes by tension in yourself, applying pressure to your opponent. It creates tension in them that makes them frozen for a moment of time. You can also add pressure to different targets, and they're going to react to those maybe by some movement. If it doesn't necessarily add tension, you're also trying to get them to add movement to stuff. So that maybe if you're faking at different corners of the cube, now you're getting them to do larger movement in between your fakes. You can also add.
I'm gonna go grab a shield.
Yeah. You can also add fakes with your eyes. So if you look at targets, people will start to feel a little bit of tension, that you're actually going to target something. So if you just look at the elbow a couple times in between a fight, now they're starting to worry about the elbow a little bit.
So yeah, you don't have to physically put there and this is hard to see in the video, but he is literally going to look at my elbow, but hit me in the head. What's that?
Use them eyeballs.
Yeah, use them eyeballs, as Saib has learned.
Yeah.
So watch.
Game.
And then he throws that right up to the side of the head. So watch this again, where I'm going to get a little more in front. Yep, there we go. So he looks at my elbow and then throws it a different place.
But what he feels is he saw me look at the elbow, he saw my body start moving toward the elbow, and then I'm throwing at the head. So it's harder to ignore that fake if some things are adding up to make the fake feel more real.
And what I see is a lot of people think that throwing a sword is a fake. And in some styles, it actually is a fake. They'll throw a sword just on the edge of what is a good blow, and then look for the next flowing opportunity. So he might throw the headshot, and then he might throw the roll into the next one. So head, bang, bang, and then he might add a third, and that might keep going. And he learns each time through those what's open. The key in that is I have the ability to recover because he has to recover. Where in a, people are like, well, you have to know combinations to be a knight. I'm like, this is a combination. I just threw a head-leg combination. Did you guys see it? It was super fast. Right?
So fast. The evil eye is your friend.
The evil eye is your friend.
So
yes.
also with fakes that are from pressure or tension, how long the person's been fighting and say how skilled they are is a factor in how much time they need to recognize the fake.
We might have to leave it on
so
longer.
you might have to let it hang out a little bit longer for somebody who's newer.
Yeah, your brand new guy.
Or it could, smaller is better with somebody who's more advanced. So the less you emphasize the fake, and the faster, say, the twitch in it or the tension that you're throwing into the fake, that is actually probably better with somebody who's more experienced to keep it smaller.
And Paul, this is that space that we're talking about trying to free you up, right? That is that doing that eye look. It's like you're walking backwards and then all of a sudden you shift that eye somewhere and give a little tension, a little pop of tension. That person has to be aware that he possibly could be in danger and it may slow him up, or at least you can recognize what he does or what she does. So that's that piece that we're adding into this. So Louis just showed you tension as a fake. He showed you movement. Watch, he could just bend over one way or lean. See how he just leans a little bit this way, and all of a sudden I'm thinking leg. So Louis adds some pressure somewhere else. He's thinking upside head. So, and that wasn't much pressure, but I can see it. And this is another drill that you can do with somebody. I stand in and I have people do this all over the place again. It's I'll stand here. Louis is going to call the blows. Watch.
Head, outside head, onside head, like leg, arm, elbow, head.
And you can recognize that.
And you're thinking, right.
I couldn't say it right, but it was body then head.
And it's actually funny because I'm glad he made that point. He thought body, he just said head. You're actually thinking faster than you can verbalize. So a lot of times, this time he's just going to point to the area that he thought I was tensioning. Yeah.
He's just going to block
give you
it.
an eye look. Yes. Yes. Good. Yeah. So by just adding small reactions, it also allows me to see where he was going to block, which is a great thing because he's learning how to respond and into the tension I'm giving him. So that helps him understand if I'm going to where I'm going. So if he goes totally the wrong way, and I'm like, okay, that was wrong, right? So the idea is we're helping each other. It also helps the person who's calling it realize that he's actually seeing this and able to take advantage of thinking about it. Because some people just feel it, and they don't realize what to do with it. In this case, he's like, okay, he's tensioning the upside head. Next piece for him to do is, you trade it off. I'm going to tension one zone, and then he'll tension something. Right, so now all of a sudden, what I did is I tensioned head, he counter-tensioned with my arm. I'm going to pull that arm into a block, and I'm going to counter tension to the leg. Right? He's going to counter tension to the center line. So I went down here, he countered up there. So now I might counter tension here. So now he might, next piece from here is he's going to probably turn and then counter tension and he ends somewhere on me. The back and forth tension allows you to essentially see if you're making good decisions. This is another great partner drill. And it's actually a relatively hard one, so don't feel bad if you get this wrong. I tension to his head. He sees an opening. He tensions back to that opening, which is my arm. I have to take that tension off my arm and block my arm and tensions to the next spot, which is his leg. He sees that probably somewhere else, he's counter tensioning to my other leg because that's a standard thing. I going to a leg, the other person goes to the leg. So as he's counter tension, I turn it back up and I counter tension back to his head. Okay, and he counter tensions because there's an opening there. The idea is that we're learning, there's a fight going on just with tension and targeting. But we're learning stuff without throwing. If I'm just throwing, then he could actually take advantage of it. All right, we're going to take a real quick break, and I want to talk and see what people have questions. So just to give a real quick cover of what Louis covered on the fakes, you can use tension. That little jab step that we talk all the time is a great tension piece. It's also very good when somebody's following you. Give them a jab step and then fall back. Right? So that helps freeze people. You can see if it freezes. If it doesn't freeze them, then you're like, oh, maybe that's not a great step. But then he used his eyes, or a little bit of body motion. I lean this way, so I know it's coming over here. He leans this way. I know it's coming over here. Then he started using eyes. He like looked at something, and I'm like, oh, right? So now he's using his eyes. The last piece of that, though, is you can actually use your breath as well. So I could look and like literally push the power through them. So if I'm looking at Louis here, I can go, hey! Now he's like, oh! So there's actually a medieval martial art that uses breath, uses ki to control tension in people. So if I just push on him, watch this. If I just push over here, he's a little bit more calm, right? Because I'm holding the tension in me. But as soon as I let that tension go out through breath, hey! Now all of a sudden, whoa! Right? It's like yelling at somebody. If you're here and you're talking nice and you go, hey!
Yelling at somebody.
Right? I do this all the time in melee. People are like, oh, you're like a barking dog running around the side. Right?
But you spike their adrenaline a little bit, and that creates the tension.
Exactly. All right, so let's talk a little bit here. The concepts here. First, let's talk about the concepts of the cube. So does everybody kind of get the concepts of the cube and how you use it? So we have Wolfram and what's that? Oh, yeah, we can cool down too.
Great explanation for newer fighters on how this works. You see it often in crown tourneys or kendo or kenjutsu high-level bouts where there's only one. I assume that's only one shot and that's it.
Yeah, that's our one-shot drill.
Explanation for newer folks
we should probably
of how that properly works. Yes, you should show.
So actually, that's a very good.
That. Sorry for my fumbly reading.
Yeah, they point out that we see some of this in martial arts and applications in martial arts, all the way down to the one step, kind of the one-shot drill. And we actually do the one-shot drill a lot. That's one of our standard drills that we've been doing for 20 years or more. And we're going to show that later, so you guys understand how to manage that. But we are in that place where we have the box, right? So we're talking, everybody get the idea of the cube. How does everybody feel with that idea? Good? Yeah, I figured you do, Craig. So you better.
I was going to ask if the cube rotates the fighter or the opponent, but I suppose goes with the fighter.
So it's interesting. Yeah, that's a good question. There's two cubes. There's two cubes, and that's it. So Louis nailed it. So there's the cube that's his shoulders.
Right.
So if he turns this way, then now the cube is this way, right? Right. So it rotates, but my cube is the same. It rotates with my shoulders. So you have to remember. So if I can get his cube to rotate back, that edge is farther away from me now, right? So the idea is you're still thinking that way. I think of it, that becomes a much harder point. But now the backside of this cube is much closer to me. I can throw that.
Sure.
All right?
Being aware of the cube made us realize that we can actually hit the elbow behind the shield.
Yeah.
If you can't see it, you can go for it because you know that it's there, even if you can't see it. And that's quite amazing when that works.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've been doodling in cubes. I've been doodling in cubes. If you look at my pages, there's cubes. If I'm thinking about something, there are little cubes all over my pages. I've been doing that since I was a child. So, like, here's my little cubes. Yeah, here they are. Okay, little cubes. You see them? Yeah. That's just me as I'm thinking and writing notes. So I was always thinking everybody else could see these nice blue lines or something in the air with all these damn triangles, and I could never see them. And you start talking about cubes and I see it. So,
Like it's 1986 year computer.
yeah, it's a 1966 era computer game. Fine, yeah, but yeah, cool. I see cubes. So what's it? You got a cube around you. Can you go through the cube though? Because that's what's making me think about that. You're gonna, if you're throwing a thrust or something, that's going to come like through the cube and coming back out, and it totally makes sense of keeping shots tight when you're flowing.
Yes.
Around London.
And pushing the far sides of those cubes while you're in flow. So that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Again, we use that cube to make sure that we understand. So if I pressure the outside of this cube and Louis doesn't move, and I think I could get that, and he didn't move. He thinks he has it. In fact, he might make a tiny block.
Yeah.
He makes a little block, and I'm like, he didn't block that.
No.
I think I can get that shot. So now I'm going to bring him back over here, and I'm going to bang. Because now I knew it was a weak block. I might have opportunity, but I didn't. You notice, I didn't just throw it. I made it. I wanted to see if it would work, and then I would go back somewhere else, and then I go back to throwing it.
Are you seeing those like special effect things where a second ago the lines were here, then they're here, now they're here, and now they're moving there, like a sequence of.
Right, in this case, what's happening is I'm recognizing something.
Yeah.
I recognize that I pushed him, and he doesn't move enough out that I can still roll around his shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Watch. I put it in a. If I go for that, now he actually might make the block because he's already there and he's already thinking about it. I already told him I was going to shoot that back shoulder.
So now he's teaching me that block is necessary because he's going to throw either one or two
Right.
shots now, not just one shot.
So while he's thinking about it, I have a harder time actually doing it because
You
now
have to do something else.
he goes somewhere else. So now I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to put some pressure because now his hand came back up and bang. Right? So all we're doing is I get him back to being natural, and then I go and shoot it because his natural is where it's weak.
Yeah. Yes, I understand. But they get you. It's
So,
going back to his routine, and that's what makes it weak. Yeah.
And that's a hard concept for some people, but that's where this is the thinking part of a fight. And this is the part where that conversation, and we had it with Bess last week, is some people just don't think when they fight. There's probably some thinking going on, but it's really in a way that flows for them, and it's so natural for them.
Autopilot.
It's autopilot, right? It's that turning left. I know how to do it. I've done it a million times. I just do it. My eyes naturally. There's a ton of stuff happening. I look to see if there's a car there. I look to see if there's a car in front of me, and then all of this goes. I slow down. There's a ton of stuff going on. But and if it's a car in front of me, I stop. And I don't have to think about these. I'm not in that space where I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to start I'm going to look, and then I'm going to start turning left.
How hard did you have to think about turning left when you were brand new to driving and had never done it before and are you have to consciously figure out all the bits versus now where it's just a program in your brain that says turn left and it just goes.
Now put yourself on a motorcycle, and this is a whole different, because on a motorcycle what happens is the guy in the car can think without thinking, and then after a while, what happens? You get in an accident because you leave the detail out. You don't look the right way. You're so comfortable that you're not going through all the pieces anymore, and there's a breakdown in that piece. On a motorcycle, you're like, I could be dead, so I'm going to go through every one of these pieces.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
be thinking about this.
Yeah.
Or just flowing through stuff. That's what we're talking about.
Thank you. I've got to keep drawing cubes. My cubes paid off. I've been drawing them all my life.
When you have a practical application.
Yeah.
So anybody else on the cube? Everybody understand how to pressure. And what I'd like you to
how about,
go ahead.
Does everybody understand the difference between tension and pressure?
And that's a hard one. This is
I'm not sure. Could you go over it? It seems a little nebulous to me.
So tension is inside your body, like your muscles actually being tense or your opponent's muscles being tense. So there's things that you can do, like the ki and yelling at them, or adding, threatening them, and that can create tension inside their body. So if they have tension in their body, and the muscles are go to like say 80% contracted, then it's harder for them to throw a shot from that state. They have to go to a relaxed state, which might take another second or two, or half a second to a second. And if you can change that up in a fight and add little bits of that, then there are times where they can't throw shots.
So that's tension in somebody's body. Now he's going to talk about pressure here.
So pressure is when you're focusing attention to something, some kind of a threat. So pressure is, I'm going to add pressure to his elbow so he knows that I'm thinking about his elbow. So it's a communication device, is what pressure really is.
So you can.
Okay. So pressure is about focus, and tension is internal.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're like tensioning. You're pressuring the box, right? You're pressuring your cube because I'm putting pressure on something. I may be causing tension inside the cube, right? And then I'm watching. That's it.
I might use my own internal tension to do something that pressures you and causes you to have tension, but the pressure is the sort of me transferring that to you.
And just like with tension, you can relax, and your opponent will, your opponent is going to tend to follow what you do with tension. So if you add relaxation, they're going to take a moment to relax and gain some, some energy back. So
this explains the thing that happened to me.
Speaking of the Kihap effect.
Yeah, the Kihap effect. I was in a tournament, and the one round of it, a melee tournament, and one round of it was to get your foot on a buckler and keep your foot there, and when they called the tournament. So my foot got on it, and it was, I was like, oh, because suddenly there were like about 9 people coming at me, and already, and I thought, bugger it, that isn't it. And I relaxed for a second, and then because I was cross, because I wanted that damn buckler, and my foot was on it, and I wanted my shire to win, I just relaxed for a second, and I just went, right in the faces, and went like that.
Everybody was
and I
like,
hit
whoa.
one of them, and they called it, and I won. So that was a complete instinct. Sorry, Spencer. It's exactly that thing.
And the idea there is you relaxed. They were like, oh, hey, now she's giving up. And then you burst into something else that froze them. And then you took opportunity. So what we learned there was you did a bunch of natural things. Mm-hmm. But now what we want to do is we want to do those consciously to people. Mm-hmm. And this is the part where the thought comes into this. These are the pieces. I'm going to tension all those corners of the box. I'm going to see which ones are weak. And when you get so good at it, people ask, is like, for me and Rongvalder, we tension something and we start thinking about 2 or 3 points that were weak. And then we'll go to the next one. We'll remember those 2 or 3 points, and we'll go to maybe the next point, and we'll work, and there's a couple more points. And we use those to build that chess match. It's like, I may not get that, but I know they react poorly. So I'll go over there, and then I'm like, I'm going to pull him down here because really his weakness is over here. And we'll use those. And then if I go back to that and he picks it up, I'll be like, no big deal. I have 2 or 3 more that I'm already queued up to start trying. So when you get into a level where you're holding those things, then you have a whole broad game instead of, oh, he just blocked or she just blocked the best shot I have nothing else. Then all of a sudden you're lost in the fight. So that's the piece why it's hard for people to understand that we think all the time. And there's you can see why we think, right? I'm pressuring the corners of the box, right? I mean, Louis, same way. When he gets out there, the first thing he does is like, and it may be purely natural. He doesn't have to think about it. Like, okay, start pressuring the points. See what's weak. Did I have to think a lot about it? No, it's just that's the first part I do in probing somebody. Right? It doesn't mean that thought has to be so crushing that it holds you back. It means thought needs to be so relaxed. We talked about thought last week being relaxed.
Please don't forget the promised lefty stuff.
Yes, I will. We'll pop into that promised lefty stuff. Bess had something.
Oh, yeah.
Can we go back to probing for a second?
Said Louis is a counter shooter. You know that about him. Knowing this, what are you looking for when you probe?
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll try this one. we'll switch back to the camera out here, and I'll show you.
And then we will do the lefty stuff.
Yeah, and then I'll get Ron Mulder over here, and we'll try something. So we're gonna play Louis as the counter shooter. So counter shooters, the most dangerous part on most counter shooters is that you don't know they're a counter shooter. So you throw something and they counter it very quickly. So in this case, I throw a leg shot by looking down, and Louis essentially throws a shot and blocks at the same time. See how he's throwing and going away, right? Already, I didn't know it was happening, so I don't have time. I'm used to somebody essentially blocking a shot, and then I can set stuff up. So in this case, he's throwing right away. But if I know that's happening, I might throw this leg shot, and you notice he threw, but I never left home. I still have my block. So it doesn't, in this case, now he's not sure if I'm going to throw or not throw. So I might do this 2 or 3 times. Watch this. See, it's getting a little harder to throw this shot because he's not sure yet, right? So then you throw a shot in and change the time. The more you make your opponent not sure about what they can do, the harder it is for them to fundamentally get to that place where they're going to go ahead and release that throw. They actually have to think about it more and more and more.
Well, and one important detail here, especially when you're dealing with a counter shooter, or don't yet know if they are, start that probing from out on the edge of range.
Exactly.
Stay at a safe distance where you can block.
And Cy brings up a good point. If I'm counter shooting, if I'm trying to find out right here, it might be too late. And they're throwing right away, right? Or I can go, now maybe I had to stay home. But in this case, we're in a place that you could just start throwing, and your opponent may just start throwing. Here's one of the biggest ways I find out if somebody, what they're going to do. I'll do this. This is what I call the big red on button. I hit them right in the shield from a long range. A shield is usually the farthest thing from their body. This is about the safest blow you can throw because I'm way out here, bang, and I can already see him locking up ready to throw. I'm like, oh, he's one of those guys. What? Another thing you can we see all the time, and that is I'll hit the shield and they'll start marching forward. There they go. That means it's on. He just threw a shot. The fight's going. I got to go. This is those people that stay on you all the time. So if you don't know they're going to start marching forward, as soon as I get in here, bang, and then they march forward, now they're in a range that it's very difficult for me to get from. But if I'm out here, bang, and they march forward, look, they're still not in range. So I get to control that range. But I got to know first. See why it's so important to know? Because now I have more control. I can still control that scenario. So that's the piece on the counter shooter. Now to counter shoot a counter shooter, the idea is this. I may get them to throw, bang, and then I follow back. So as they throw, he throws, and then he comes back. Go ahead and throw all the way out. Bang. And then as he's coming back, bang, I can throw. All I did is change the time of the blow. In the other way, what's happening is I throw, he throws. There's no control of time. In this case, I'm like, as he's coming back, I'm controlling that time. Does that make sense, Bess? You can just say yes. Is this covering what you wanted to cover, Bess? I just want to make sure. I can see Bess is experiencing difficulties. She can fundamentally. It looks like she can text us, but. All right, we'll wait for her text. But so that's in a counter shooter game. That's the same thing. Even if they're not a counter shooter, it may just, I want to try to get this person to throw so I know their time. So me and Louis could be fighting. Here we go. There we go. So now what I just learned is Louis has fast hands because he just threw a fake at me. I'm like, woo, I'm at range. I'm safe. But that was a lot faster than what I was comfortable with. So now I have to make sure I know a little bit more about him So now I got to make sure that I'm okay with it being that fast. The idea being maybe I have to have more range, but at least as you get to understand somebody's speed, it's easier to block. So again,
That says thank you.
okay. So again, same thing happens. I'm way out here. Bang, shield. Bang, shield. Right? Good. Right? So I'm controlling and I'm throwing some stuff to try to get a feel for what he's going to do. In this case, what I learned is Louis is moving super good. And maybe I'm going to have to slow that down before I can get a shot on him. Because he's moving so fast that he's actually taking out my outside lines before I get to do something. So as I throw something, he's literally shifting over my foot. So he kind of pushed over here. My foot is in between his legs now. So now what I might do is this. I might slow down. See, now you notice how he just slowed down for no reason. I slowed down, he slowed down.
That works.
Because guess what? A lot of times people track your energy. You give somebody less energy, the harder it is for them to make their own. And then I'm going to talk about that concept later too, and we will get to left. In fact, we'll talk about that concept next week. So the idea here is I'll get Louis moving. And then I'm going to slow. Right? All of a sudden I stopped. He stopped, I slowed down, and then from slow, I went very fast. That allowed me to do something even though he's faster than me.
So controlling the tempo.
Okay? All right, so we're going to cover a little lefty stuff. I'm going to have, I think you're going to go, work with, hey, Ron Valder, we're going to borrow you and send her over. We're going to cover some lefty stuff here. I know, it's okay. We'll keep her away from you.
I got all my shots. It's fine.
I got all my shots. It's fine. All right, so we're going to go through some lefty stuff. I'm going to use both, and I'm going to use Louis here as kind of Rongvalder's partner. I'll switch in every once in a while. What we're going to do is Louis is still working on some lefty stuff. He's had some really good chance and opportunities to fight some folks down in Sierra, especially two-stick folks. So he's really been working on this more and more. But there are weaknesses, and Louis knows what he has to do. It's just hard to stay, and this is that discipline piece, right, Louis?
Right.
It's hard to stay in discipline to, at some point, we'll be in here and we'll be working, and I want to do this. Because I'm just relaxing, I'm going to stick my head over to do this. But that gives that lefty an opportunity, okay? Or I'm going to throw an offside because I think it's, I have to because that's bread and butter. Again, it's a dangerous position you're putting yourself in. You have to understand why you're doing that and make sure there's as little danger in it as possible. The more disciplined you are in a fight, the more boring sometimes that is, the harder it is for your opponent to take advantage of you. So once you go ahead and talk a little bit about lefty against righty and the things you look for.
All right, so I don't know what's covered so far. So
I didn't cover anything lefty against righty. We
talked about pressure and tension and some fakes.
Okay.
We talked about the square and then the box and targeting corners of the box.
For the probing.
For probing.
So everybody. Is that feedback?
I don't know. I think it's feedback, but I'm not sure what from.
Okay. Anyway, so a lot of people think of left-handed being very different. So I can't tell you how many times I've had people come out with special swords because I'm left-handed, change their stance because I'm left-handed. So if you're uncomfortable, a left-hander, what good do you think it's going to do you to use equipment or a stance you're also uncomfortable with? So to me, all those changes are just compounding your problem. So when I fight, I like to be in my stance all the time. I change its location and the threats simply based on the equipment my opponent has chosen, and that is where the change comes in. Left or right-handed, long sword, short sword, great sword, pole arm, whatever. I'll change it based on that. Okay, so the things I look for that I keep in mind are that do apply left-handed is right off the bat, any kind of cross shot is bad. Okay, as a general rule, you never throw a cross. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to, because if you can't, if I stay over here and put all my pressure in his center and his elbow, see how you can't see it from your side. So if can you turn to the camera from where you are? So now come towards me. Okay, now he's fixed it now, but I'm going to show you where he was. He was here. Okay, the reason he's doing that is because my threat center line in here. Yeah, that opens him up over here, but I've committed so much over here, he literally doesn't care. So I have actually taken away half my shots just because this is where I'm supposed to throw. Okay, the reason I can get these shots, especially on Branas, is I have to pressure this side. And I don't do that this way. This is death again. See, I'm cross shooting. The moment I do this, these guys are going to hit me. But if I put pressure here and do, say, what's one of ours? Lunge step, I can lunge to here where it threatens this leg. As I lunge, I can actually sit down. So what he feels is all this pressure drops low and hard into his outside leg. But I haven't changed my stance. So that's the important thing. So that there's these consistencies that don't change when you're left-handed. I have to be, now by doing that, if we're talking left-handed specifically, when I do this, I want to see how he's going to respond. So let's see how Louis responds. Okay, he turned his front foot out, not his back foot. He pointed this at me, but he tucked it in to do it. So what I'm looking at now is I might be able to sit here and fire here. If I had leaned, not only I put myself in risk, but even if he doesn't throw, I have to recover and then throw. He will recover and block or throw. So when we're doing the ladder thing and doing the bob, and we keep saying, sit down, get your feet pointing the right way, put your hands up. It's because it is the same thing. Whatever we're doing, it's all the same. Okay. What else do you do different against me when I'm left-handed? Sometimes I get more down here. So what he's doing is he's sitting down. But what I want you to see though is when he's doing it, he did a little different this time. And I usually try to encourage, ironically, the one he just did. Usually what he'll do is he'll sit down into his stance more to his sword side. The reason for that is he's trying to put harder pressure on my inside. Okay.
I'm trying to get over top of his left foot, outside of it, but he won't let me. So I'm trying to shift my body a little bit outside of it.
And that often gets me to pull down and over. Okay. So there he could lean. I could probably pop back up. He can hit me on my outside. So what ends up happening is you get this pressure on this side. I'm trying to think of things that are just left-handed. Left-handed, typically, I will try to put more pressure on this elbow and this leg. If somebody funny foots me as a lefty, honestly, what goes through my head is two things. You cocky bastard, thank you for the gift. Because this is one of two. This is out because somebody thinks this gives them greater range, which it does. But I'm not going to stay here. I'm going to change my range to here. So if they're not skilled, I'm going to pick up this leg because I don't have to reach for it. It's not back there anymore. A better fighter knows that I reach for this leg, right? And his weight's on it, so how's he going to block it? Okay, see, he's not a regular fighter. He's pulling himself. But even there, all right, he's forced to defend that leg with his sword in this case. What I see most frequently is somebody leaning forward, and when I threaten that leg, what they're trying to do is block it with a shield and get me with the extra range. Okay? So if I do that to Louis, because it's the same kind of thing.
Would you like a bigger shield?
If I lean, like funny foot it and lean and look for him to threaten this leg, and I'm going to cross shoot, so you're going to come this leg. I'm going here. Now he knows. So this, let's go ahead and take my arm. Okay, he knows. He knows it's coming. So, Bunny foot is not bad. Not bad at all, as we've learned. We used to avoid it like the plague.
There's a question. I'm not sure at what point it actually appeared, but what do you mean by inside and outside?
Stepping
Oh.
outside the foot.
Is that, I think, yeah, there were two places I think we mentioned that. One's inside and out.
Inside
So,
foot, she says.
I'll do my triangle thing real quick, because it's easier to see on the screen.
Inside foot, outside foot.
Okay, this is the top view.
Got that.
Okay, this is you standing at the point of this V. This is your opponent standing at the point of his V. The end of this V is his maximum range. The end of this V is your maximum range. Okay. Right now, these opponents are both facing each other out of threat. Here, they're in each other's range. Both are in danger. If you shift outside of this line of his foot with your foot, he's in your range. You are not in his. You have stepped outside his shot.
Louis made a on the ground visual.
Yes, this is awesome. So if I'm facing him, I'll
It's like if you see the sticks
Do you
that
see the
Louis
ends of the sticks?
yes.
Okay,
Well,
perfect.
Rongvelder's in front of one
Yeah,
of them,
but you
but
can see
you get
the
the
outline.
idea.
So does that show him better?
You guys might need to rotate a little bit because when you stand in front of him, you're completely. But the visual is the sticks. It's the imaginary lines that come out of Louis' feet when he's standing in stance.
I have them too. Right now, we're both in danger. Right here, it's a crapshoot. We don't know who's going to win. So what Louis is doing to me is he's moving his stance in the process of our movement to here. So now I'm pointing outside his stick. My stick is here. Okay, I got him outside. And go the other way too. Point out here. So he can still throw, but they're weak, and they're far. They have to travel farther. I can still throw, but he's straight in front of me. So this kind of thing is what goes through my head when I'm doing like the ladder drills. When we do the 45, right? We stand here and we turn over to here. I imagine an opponent facing me here, and I simply skip over so I'm facing his side. As he turns to me, I shoot back so he's facing here again.
You'll also, in various places from various people, you'll hear this talked about as being in someone's pie or the wedge, or there's lots of names for it that'll
Inside
pop
their
up.
feet.
But it's all talking about this same concept.
Right. In my offense is best. Most of my offense is best within my feet. So throwing shots, I'm going to be better inside my feet. Throwing shots outside my feet is very weak.
He can hit me here, right?
Yeah, I can still hit him here, but
it's crappy and it's a bad angle. So this is
Grimmer says the finger visual was great.
excellent, because
Best he's
that's
ever
what you're looking
seen.
at. Now, here's the trick with the finger visual. If you want somebody in your feet, you move your stance. Okay, this doesn't help. Okay, this does not give you a greater range. It has to be your stance.
It has to be
So
good stance.
this is why I'm going to be a little pompous here. This is why I prefer this to when people fight here. People like this because they feel safer. Shields up, weapons in, they feel a smaller target, right? But I'm literally facing this direction,
right.
and I'm throwing at about a 45 off.
Oh.
And I've got this whole outside. I'm already outside his feet.
Yes.
Love
I've
hearing
got this
those
whole
O's.
outside that I can throw anything on his, and he can't do
Right.
much about
So
it.
now we're talking about this pie and getting outside, right? Except if I turn sideways, I gave it to him. I literally said, here's the best place for you to fight me here. Because one pace, he's literally behind me. Okay, if I'm here and he takes one pace, he's outside my foot and I'm in danger. Here, one step outside, I literally can't even see him anymore.
And when we add those fakes and tension into the game, if you're
Right.
already sideways, I put a little pressure over here and you're now super committed and I can be behind you throwing down your spine.
Even showing the bottom pressure to the bottom corner of the cube. So same stance. Right? If I pressure him down here, that makes his energy go down this way, which makes it really hard for him to react going the other way. So I can pressure here and throw up here, or his hip.
Yes. There are a couple pictures of me with these really cool blocks with my shield blocking stuff behind my head. Everybody's like, ooh. No. You caught me doing something really, really bad and I got lucky. That's all that is. Okay, so when we talk about inside and outside, why we talk about keeping people between your feet, why we talk about your back foot's out, turn your back foot in, these are the reasons for them. Here's your applications. So now when we talk about all the movement stuff we did, we know how to move. What's its purpose? This is part of its purpose. Like I say, one of the simplest ways I describe it is get it so your pie is on the guy, on your opponent, and you're not in his pie. That's the simplest way.
Okay.
Does that make more sense?
It feels like an extended concept of line, namely keeping my line on you while denying you line on me. Being
Yes.
outside of what you can throw at me.
Yes, I like the line analogy, and I will still use it when somebody is caught up on movement without purpose. Okay, so I can move around Louis just to try to get a better purpose, but you'll see he's not really doing much except adjusting his feet a little bit because he's not in danger. There's no threat. Yeah, I'm in a better position, but I haven't done. My hands are useless. And what we usually see is somebody who holds their weapon and shield, and they move around, and then when they feel like they're ready, they bring their weapons and shield up. Why were you in range if you weren't ready to fight? What possible purpose does that serve except to get you killed? So it has to have purpose. So that's why I use the line. For me, the line is bent. It starts in this foot. It comes up through this hip and through my hand. So I imagine that bent line here. So now, as I move around, if you can imagine a bigger picture, you have your pie with how about a pie knife stuck in it? There's a knife in my pie right in the middle, my piece of pie. So I try to get my pie on him by pointing my knife at where he's open at the same time. Okay. Now, right now, all he's doing is responding. But at the same time, when I start doing things like, say, I cut to my left, and he chooses to cut slightly to his left, and I'm not ready for it, he can actually step outside. See, here he's let me. I don't know if you can't see his feet. What he did was he made just a slight hip adjustment and let me step too far. And then I stepped out of the pie. I stepped my pie off of him, and I stepped into his pie. Okay, does that make sense?
It's hard to believe some of that happens subconsciously.
Yes. And that's what happens. I mean, picture it and do it slow. Remember, this is practice. Louis and I we fought before, and he's highly skilled at this as well, so we can futz it here quicker. But I strongly recommend doing this at slow speed. So get your stance, sit in it, just put one hand in front, point, or even right out of your sword position, right? And then just slowly, one of you move. So we'll stay here, and Louis will move, so I'm not pointing at him, and he's pointing at me. Okay? Now I can recognize, oh, I'm weak, because I'm in his pie, he's outside of mine, so where do I want to go? He turned well, so I'm going to turn, because he's closer now, so I'm going to turn and shift back. So I'm going to go here and sink to put my pressure low. Now he can feel that. Now he's got to decide what to do with it. Okay? I'm low in here, so he went high and up over my shoulder, which puts me in a lot of danger. And again, off the pie. One step at a time. So you feel every single one. What did I do? What did I get? What did I do? What did I get? What did he do? What did he get? What did he do? What did he get? And then you can pick it up, and then you can add weapons, and then you can move faster. Just like we did over here.
So did you guys talk a little bit about how we use that lefty defense against two sword?
Haven't talked about that.
No, we didn't. That's actually a good example. So when I fight someone, what I'm looking at is the rotation point on their sword, ideally. If they're a good fighter, my eyes go to where the weapon rotates. A typical sword rotates just above the hilt. So as they throw, the rotation's here. See, everything below goes down, everything above goes forward. Backwards and forwards. So that's my rotation point. So this is kind of where I watch. Now, what am I supposed to do here, right? I can't watch both swords because I can't. I can only watch one. If I watch the center, I can sort of watch both, right? But now I'm sort of watching both. I'm at equal risk. Okay, so how the hell do you deal with this? Well, it's easy. You get rid of one, and you look at the other one.
Exactly.
Now, it won't stay that way. It won't be like I threaten his arm, he pulls it back, I move over here, and this is all. Now I'm done. I can just watch this you and be sure that he's going to correct that. But for a bit, it's gone. Okay?
And now he can attack this side free.
Yes. So this whole pie thing and the line are even more important with a Florentine fighter or any two-weapon fighter, because now you're dealing with two attacks. So
I'm doing a poor lefty style here because he's going to tell you what the first thing. So here's the first thing. He enters the fight, and this is where people talk about, oh, I don't think when I fight. What Rongrod is entering this fight, the first thing he's thinking is, he looks at where my form is.
Yeah.
And where do you think? My hands are low. We talked about this last week, about hands being in the midsection of the body. What is wrong? What are you thinking of this?
I'm also starting back here, just out of range, so I'm safe, right? If he doesn't raise his weapons, I'll step up to the edge of range or even bring my weapon up, because I want him to move into stance so I can see it.
Because I may not be in the right stance. I may not be in my true stance. This could be my relaxed stance.
Right.
So now he's going to pressure me to see what my real stance is.
Now, a good Florentine fighter always knows he's weak in the center. So what I will often do is, he talked before about energy and tension. So I stay relaxed, and then as I set up, just before I settle, I drop the tip. I don't go forward, I drop down. He doesn't like it, no Florentiner does, but his choice was to pull his butt back and push his weapons out. Okay? So what this told me is, A, he's not going to block it with a sword, but he will pull his body out and try to pick it up if it does come in. He's going to defend. He's not going to throw.
Because where are my swords? What are you thinking my swords are here?
I'm looking for two things. First is they're low, so he might thrust. However, because he pulled his butt back and extended his arms, he's prepared to block. He saw this, he got ready to block it, so when it does come, he could do something with a sword.
And even if I wanted, I don't have much from here because my butt's away.
Right. Now, if he goes back to his original stance and does this, pulls his elbows back just a little, okay, see how his arms are prepped? He could be lying now, okay? So now what I'm looking at is, when I drop this, what's likely is he's probably going to thrust or throw, because now he's cocked. His first stance told me he's ready to defend. Now he's pulled his arms back. Now he's moving his feet. Now he's telling you, see, because this is Bronis, you can't stand still in a list field. He's starting to move his feet. So now he's like, all right, this guy's going to threaten me. I can't stand still. So I start moving. To me, if somebody starts out fixed and then starts moving, that's a good thing, because they're not comfortable moving, right? So now we can do the same stuff we did before, except I don't come here. I put my threat into a weapon. So I'll come over here. See how he pulls it back? Okay, but he didn't disengage them. He could still throw, but he pulled this away. So for a moment, I can disengage this. So I know somewhere in here, I can slide here, and I probably have a shot on this side.
But this weapon's disengaged because what happened again, and you can probably see it this way right here, is as he put thread on this arm comes here. This is still throwable, but he only has to worry about one sword now. This is my shield.
Yeah, the shield's gone. This made him a single sword fighter for a moment.
You notice he hasn't done anything yet, right? He didn't throw a blow. Because what did we say the blow was? It's the end of a fight.
Yes, yep. The probing shot, he talked about it before, the probing shots, they're fine, but they're mediocre fine, because you have to commit your firepower to find out where to put your firepower. So unless you're really good at recovering or breaking a shot in the middle, it's weak. Now that doesn't mean sometimes we don't throw just for other purposes.
Yeah, I mean, I could be here, and I could literally, I just want to know if he's a counter shooter. I'll be, and I'm like, okay, he faded that way. He was strong on the block, but he's going to go away.
Yeah. So next time he'll fake the sword and then probably fire with
Right,
it.
so next time I might do this. Now he's not very comfortable because I stepped in the same angle he was going to step, and I'm over the top of him, and he was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You see, we just changed that whole fight around with one test.
Yep. And if you talk about the basics again, it was feet. We shifted our pies back and forth, and when he felt comfortable, as I passed through his pie, he fired on my sword. And while I'm in the process of disengaging and going defensive, meaning I have no weapon, he closes his pie onto me and has 2 weapons. I have no weapon and a shield. He's got 2 weapons. There's the fight.
But you notice I didn't open up by just trying to hit his arm.
Right. Now, that doesn't mean sometimes he won't throw my elbow when he knows he can't get it, because he wants me to know that he's going to throw my elbow.
Right. It's the same thing, and I'm sure they talk about it with the offside head when you're fighting a lefty. There are times when that lefty will not ever, he'll leave that all day long to take other stuff away. If you never throw it, then he's never going to try to guard it.
I don't have to.
Right? Because I'm never looking at it. But if I tension it,
Yep.
and he still doesn't move, I may still look and I may throw, even though offside, I always tell people offside's the devil. But I may have to throw an offside. But I'm going to test it 3 or 4 times, make sure that he's not going to counter me, and I'm going to pop it real fast.
Yep. Now he can get it, but this, again, it goes back to the same stuff. It just gets layered. So our fight will start out. We'll start out even, we'll work back and forth, and he'll do his pressuring here and here. My shield's in a good position. My arm's down a little bit. Now I'm starting to get a little twitchy, right? My head's still protected, but I'm finding myself wanting to twitch because he put all his power here. Then all of a sudden in the middle, he was like, body, 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 arm, head. And my body went, whoa, head. Shit.
And now, what I saw in there, and we'll just do that again. Here I am, an elbow, right? Elbow, head. That leg opens up. I'm not going to throw way over here. I'm going to actually throw right here. Watch what happens again. Here I am. You notice? Exactly. He went, these shots here, he bang, bang, bang. He goes defensive because it's a shock, and then I just drop to the inside leg. We talked about that. That next drop to the inside leg might be even right there.
Yep. So even if I...
So I might be bang, bang, hit, and then I'm sliding out. And tripping on the left. Yeah. So the idea is I set that up. I threw maybe short shots. I never expected those to be killing blows. I'm setting something up. So you notice today's conversation, lots of probing going on. I'm going to probe that hand. Here's another one. Go ahead and put the hand up. I'll do this quite often. Right there. See how he extends that elbow? So I might be like, I'll throw here and then recover really fast into down. Right? So now he picked that up. So I might be, right? So you notice I learned something for a second.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he goes down for that block, watch what happens. Bang, bang, look. Look what opened up. What did I see? I saw him leaning slightly. And that the back hook wrap open up. Do you see what's happening there? That's what probing allows you to do. It allows me to be safe. He went defensive. I am free to throw now.
If you make a move, whatever it is, and you make your opponent, he does something in response to it, that's information. I don't care what it is, it's information. It told you something. Okay? It tells you they're a counter shooter. It tells you they never leave their stance. It tells you they stand still. It tells you they move a lot. It tells you they throw in loops. It tells you they throw fast. It tells you they don't throw until they have to. Right? The list goes on, whatever their thing is. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to know all those things. You simply probe. You're asking them, their body, to show you. What do you do when I do this? All right, you do that. What can I do with that? Can I do anything? What can I build on that? If not, probe someplace else. You know, and then keep that one in the back of your head. Well, I did this and he just pulled his stance out. So I'm going to threaten the leg. Well, I threaten the leg, he pulls his stance, but now he pulls across. Oh, all right. This makes him go that way. So now I know that when I do this, I know half a second later where he's going to be standing. But he doesn't know that I know that. And that's the fight. So when I push that, he moves over and I go with him. Just like he did on me here. Push this and he realized I pulled here, he went with me.
Oh, the last piece, I'm going to a stance will tell you something. So I'm in this guard for Rongvalder, and this is not so much about Florentina. This could even just be a single sword. But I'm in this guard. The first thing he's going to say is, my hands are low. He can't hit me in the head.
Right. I don't have to worry about a headshot until I see this. This comes up, then I'm worried. He can push from here, but it's a crappy angle and it has vertical movement. So I can see it.
I have to, lots of big motion here.
Yeah.
So he can see that before I throw it. If I'm here.
Yeah, now what he's looking at is this stance is, now this changes it. So this is not uncommon, this is a little more than I'll do, but this one tells me he's going to, whatever I do, he's not going to block his body. He's going to avoid it and unopen fire, probably with both. So what he's waiting for is for me to cut under here and pow. So he's going to disappear and open fire. He's not even sure those are good shots. He hasn't figured that out. If he figured it out, it'd be even better. But that's his plan. I know that because I've tested this kind of thing before. But if I'm not sure, I can just test it, right? So I can lean under.
And now this time I faded away, but
so if he's going to hit me, if he's a counter shooter.
So now watch, because he knew I was going to do that, his next step is literally to make me do what we talked about earlier. And now he slid right into me and took all that space away.
I wait just a fraction of a second for his mind to go, I got it. Wait, no, I don't. Then I can come in. Then his brain goes, oh, wait. Oh, it's too late. And that's the timing part. There's the beats, da, 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 da. So once you set them, in this case, the beats were da, 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 da. So I went da, 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 pause, da. 1, 1.5, 2.
So the last piece that I just wanted to cover, and I'm going to let these guys get back to it, is grab your shield. I'm going to show you a real tight fight between me and Rongvalder. Okay? And they have to watch a little bit. I don't want to press his knees too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put the leg at the knees.
All right. So
I've done it for 100 years.
in our fight, we're going to be squared in our pie, like we talked about. And I'm putting, you notice, I take this head away. I'm sitting my butt down, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on you to see how he's trying to break that pie, right? So now I might try to slow it down a bit. Okay? So what happens is I'm trying to step outside this foot to his shield side, which he's doing.
So when I closed, I was weak.
He was way over here. I'm defensively, I feel comfortable because his sword is behind it. So right now, he's using a lot of movement to make up, and I can't actually take it away for long. In the past, we get a little more stagnant. And I put pressure over here. And then I sink out here. And I get my foot. I just put my foot kind of 1 inch outside. And then all of a sudden, I'm not in his pie anymore. His shoulder rotates back a little bit.
My shot's past him, it's not on me anymore.
So throwing that center line, almost anything he throws ends up rotational. But that's because I went from here in front of him where he could just throw straight lines, straight elbows, to here. See how he really has to turn that body now. And that's not a huge move. But it allows me enough time to be able to see that sword. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's not moving in a line anymore, it's moving in a circle.
And watch. Here's this center line, right to that spot, from right there, straight out. You can't get more disguised. I can't see it coming. Bang, jab to the head. Brings it back. Watch this. I move 1 inch over. Now watch. He has to turn his body. That jab goes away unless he literally turns almost all of his body.
What I've done to try to compensate, I did it for him perfectly. I pushed my hip more so I could turn. So I got a better shot, but I sacrificed my movement. I'm torqued into the ground and wide now. So I've sacrificed movement to do it. That's still weak.
But if he throws it kind of the normal way, what happens is he has to turn his whole body, and now he loses all that angle. I get to see it coming all the way. But if I'm here, bang, straight up. So 1 inch to that side changes all his sword blows. And he knows that. There's days I'll look at him and go, I'm 1 inch out your wedge. He's like, goddamn, because he was focusing on his feet, right? He's focusing on sitting up straight, and he did catch me sneaking, right? And then I'll do that, and then he beat me up, and then I try to do it. I get him focused on something else, and then try to go back to it. But, you know, it's that kind of thing, and it's we can help. Questions came up. We can help each other because we know what we're doing. I'll do this. I'll start fighting him, and watch this. Here I can throw shots. But sometimes I'll do this, and I'll disengage my hips wrong, and now he's like, all my shots are going bad, and he's just totally owning me because he's getting my back shoulders, and he'll look at me and go, you're leaning. I'll be like, God damn it. But here's the trick. Because it's not subconscious, because we know exactly what we're doing, we can help each other remember the thing that we missed.
The most common one I find is, I find that it's difficult. I can't quite get the angles. Like I see the openings, I have the timing, I fire at the openings, and they're crappy. And I feel like I'm throwing poorly. I'm doing something wrong because we've been through this so often. And consciously, he can go back foot. I'm like, oh. And I realize that's all he says. What I realize is instead of fighting him here, so now I'm doing that sideways shot. I don't have good shots, but they feel okay, but they're not. This is not this. So I bring this foot back in line, and then his fighting changes because it has to. So let's see if we have more questions come in.
All right, we're gonna tell everybody we're gonna go to a Pell exercise.
We're going to go do Pells.
Louis is gonna go ahead and run, and what he's gonna do is the fakes. So he's gonna do the box drill or the cube drill.
Okay, so if
And
people have
everybody
Pells, they
can
should
help,
have the Pells out.
But I want people to focus on how to do a fake, not throw, because what's happening is I'm just letting Rongvaller know what I've been seeing in your videos. And like I said, keep shooting them. Keep shooting those videos. I was just telling him what I see is everybody shooting, just throwing. They start out, it's like, everything's a blow.
Yep, and I think it should be at first.
Right, but what's happening is this is in real fights.
Not in a real fight.
That's right. So now we're going to practice literally a fake and a throw into that cube. So it may be front side of the cube fake, back side of the cube throw. But we want to go ahead and help you guys look at that fake. And he's going to concentrate. We're going to add some tension and then throw. We're going to add some eyeballs and throw. We're going to add all the different types of fakes Louis went through earlier. So if you got some stuff to feedback on that, go ahead. I'm gonna let you guys
So we
work.
should probably have people grab Pells then, maybe?
Yeah, go ahead and tell them that
Yeah.
they're going to be working.
If you've got Pells, pull them out. Unless everybody already did, they just leave. So this is who's online, is that correct?
Yeah.
So just 3.
Yeah, one of them's me in the back.
At least 3 here. Yeah. Okay, so everybody, all you guys look ready. All right, so this is, if you overheard me before, we were talking about how when we were doing the Pells, we'd move and throw, move and throw, move and throw, move and throw. That's good because a fake is not a fake. Okay? Fake is not a fake. Actually, I take that back. A fake is fake. A fake is fake. And unless you're really good at faking it, and most of us aren't, people will understand that that is a fake, that's a shot. So when we say fake, what we want you thinking is not fake, it's a shot that does not get thrown. The difference is you have, every part of you is ready to actually fire that shot. You just don't. You just use your hip. Okay? When I move around and I put pressure and threaten everywhere, that's what I'm doing. In my mind, every one of them is shot, 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 shot. But physically they're not. So that translates to my body. So each time I move to a spot, my hip jerks a little. And that tells the person, here comes a shot. Except I don't throw it. Okay? Then it's believable. It's believable because it's actually a shot in my head. I'm not trying to fake anything. It's a shot. The side effect of that, of course, is if I find that the threat doesn't get bought, doesn't get seen, I just throw the shot. But if I'm faking and then throwing, I'm no danger until I throw. In fact, I'm in more danger because I think he thinks I'm not doing anything. He knows I'm just faking it. So when I do them, as a for instance, let's say we're going to do a head fake and then hit in the body. Okay? So what I like to do in practice is I will throw both. Okay? I got him good now. Now I'm going to throw the headshot and the body shot. That's how I do it. So it translates as, this is a real shot. Everything about my body says, here it comes. I just don't. Or you can learn how to fake that, and that's just hard. Did you have patterns you were going to go through?
We were just going to talk about throwing in different corners and pressuring different corners of the cube. So same thing, but like maybe top corner, don't throw, and then hit the bottom outside corner, trying to get them to go longer ranges.
So then my suggestion to you is, as you go through these, it's almost like it's really the 6 point. So if you imagine this rectangle, you got 4 corners, and you got 2 sides. There's your 6 points, right? So it's a 6 point drill. The box is nice because the box becomes a cube, and you begin to see the spots that are behind the person, right? So instead of trying to focus here, I know there's a spot over here where I can tilt back and put a shot behind a head, because I'm thinking 3-dimensionally. That said, we've got 6. So if you want to do it as the 6 point drill, as a for instance, let's say, what do you usually do? Do you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? How do you
Normal convention, I think, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So for practice sake, face your target, not the new one, your opponent, up into here in the throat. So you're pointed where you belong. The first one's going to be 1, 1. So for practice, we're going to throw 1, 1. Then I'm going to do them. So the first one's a fake. In other words, a shot that doesn't get thrown, and then a shot. Okay, see what it feels like. Now I can go to 2. Okay, hopefully that looks like I'm going to start a shot and not. It should feel like it to you, so try it that way.
If you got questions, feel free to shout out.
Abelard, when you fake, make sure the fake is a hip and not your shoulder and hand. Don't let them start the shot. So when you stop that shot, stop it with just the barest amount of hip movement. And that way you're still left with your whole hip and sword to go into the body. Just a tiny amount of hip, and then the rest of it all becomes sword and hip into the new target area. Better. Do you see how it's a little quicker now? Paul, let yourself relax and let the threat be with your hip and not with your hand. You're rocking your hand to tilt the weapon forward. Yes. You see how that makes it look? It makes it look like your body power is coming behind your shot now. Except your sword isn't committed, so it can go another direction. The one you just did, Germanicus, the low and high, do it again, but don't swing the first sword. Just take the little step, line it up, and yes. You couldn't have made it more perfect. So what's happening is, yeah, You see what's happening? When you do the first one, you actually lean, so you come offline a little bit. What's happening now is you're giving him a good threat. Boom. How's that feel? Abelard, bring your back foot forward just a little, not your front foot, but just your back one. What's happening is to go high, you are having to reach up as opposed to just push forward. If that foot's forward, you should be able to just push. Don't take the step. Yeah. You should, yeah, see now it looks like you could move again if you wanted afterwards. Grimmer, you're doing well. Now do a little less sword. Let the hip go, but not the shoulder. You see how it leaves the power for the actual shot? You should be able to feel like you have the power in the second shot because you haven't used the shoulder forward and back for your feint. If that's feeling fairly comfortable, and some of you are already doing it, pick one of the steps we use, the gather step, cross step, lunge step. Choose your 2 targets, whatever they are, 3 and 4, whatever. Do the aborted shot, and then do the movement and throw the shot at the second part. So it'll be a feint, a move, and a shot. Grimmer, keep your eyes up after you hit. Yeah, see how I mean? See what happens? Your body position stays and you're still in the fight. When you look down, you're teaching yourself to leave the fight after you hit. Yeah, that's much nicer. Much nicer. Can you feel it, Abelard? You're getting new angles now? Cool. If it ever starts to feel awkward, do exactly what I do. Do it with 2 shots. Bang, bang. Bang, bang. And once that feels comfortable, just barely start the first one, the smallest amount of movement, then take your step and do your shot. And remember, it's about relaxation and speed. It's not about power. So let the tension go. It does not help you.
And don't hammer, grip, or wrap. Ow.
Guys have questions? You see more to add to it?
No. The only other thing
is really what's important.
The only other one piece he was mentioning. So you can do the 1 through 6. You can do everything in 4 pieces, but the first piece is both shots. The second piece is fake the first one, throw the second. The third piece is throw the first, fake the second. fourth piece is like a jab step somewhere, and then throw the combo or one of the variants of it, and then move on to the next, and just work your way through the
Did you guys hear that?
drill.
Cool. Guys have questions?
I think your ability to get tension on your threat is directly proportional to how dangerous they think you are.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yep.
So if they interpret us as not dangerous, should we just throw the first shot?
You need to know why. They may not see you as dangerous because they don't know how to read an opponent. So ironically, some very, very new fighters are sometimes more difficult because they don't understand that when they're in danger. So a lot of times in that case, you can just hit them. So what you want to look for is, do they counter shoot? So sometimes I will fire the shot, but I'll fire it at just at a tippy range, or where it just reaches a forearm or the base of their weapon, just above their hand, that kind of thing. That way I can know how they respond when they get thrown at. Because they may be good enough to understand that until you move, but that's not very common. You find most people, either they fall for it because they have to, or they just don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but if you're a super duke and you don't think I'm a threat, you're not going to react to any of my pressures.
I hear what you're saying. I think what you're going to find is, as you practice this and you get to start seeing what kind of information you get from people, because I'll lose my second thought. So what you're working on now is a tool again. What you're working on is how does a feint work, and how can I combine it with the movement I'm using to gain a shot. Now that doesn't mean in application you're going to go, okay, I'm going to feint to 3 and fire at 5, because that may not be where they're open. You're going to probe, and then you're going to find, oh, you know what? When I threaten 2, he opens up his 1. Okay, so I'm going to threaten 2 and then do the gather step, because that one gets me there the right distance, and fire at number 1. You know, that's how you're actually using it. Right now you're going to teach yourself, how do I feint, move, fire? Or as Louis said, fire, move, feint. Fire, move, fire. So it's all moving and firing are all comfortable together. Moving and feinting and firing are all comfortable together. Then when you get an opponent, you're going to use those to get information. So that comes to my second point, which is your question. So you get the super dupe, the guy who's like, he just doesn't move. I've heard that said of me, but I promise you that I respond almost every time, because I have to. If you threaten and then you slide at an angle that's out of my pie and aiming at someplace that's open, I will make a movement. Likely, speaking for myself, I will move my entire stance to correct for it, but I'll move it as little as possible. So hopefully it'll appear like I haven't really moved at all for you, but I moved. There was a response. You know, even the super duke can't stand still. If you move around to the side where you're threatening a leg, he's not going to stand there and let you have the leg, or he's going to lose the leg. It's as simple as that. He's got to move. He has to. I try to do it as small as possible and keep as much control, so it appears that I don't, but I do. So then you start using those. So you realize that when you say step to my shield side, I move back and slightly rotate. Okay, so now you know that that movement makes me go back a half a step and turn about 20 degrees. So now that you start to understand feints, you can feint a sideways movement with a fake shot, and then cut back the other way. I will cut back to the other side, but forward. I will turn, because I know that's where you're going to be, and step back for safety. As I'm doing that, you half step and go the other way. I'm still correcting, and you have a shot. So that's just an example, but everybody moves. Ironically, the people who don't move are the brand new fighters. Ones with no real fighting experience, because they don't even know they're in danger. They didn't know they were supposed to move.
Right. So sometimes you got to slow the fakes down.
Yeah.
So that they see them.
Or make them bigger.
Or make them bigger.
Yeah. One of my favorite examples was when I pulled this muscle.
Oh, the thigh.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm stumbling around. You're like, oh, what about his knee? No, it's not my knee. It's freaking thigh. So I would do a drop, the drop shoulder fake. You know, you pump somebody's leg, their shield drops, and you hit them in the head. I'm left-handed, so for me, that means I have to pump their shield leg across and hit them in the head. Okay. When I fight someone new, this is how I would do the feint. Okay. Leg, head. They have to recognize leg, then I can throw. Against a better fighter, I'll move them around and I'll go, bang. I can do this now. So with Bronis, I learned I can do it this way.
Literally just time. Look how
This is
that's
my
it
feint.
right there.
There's a feint there. Okay. Bang. If I do even this mediocre one with Bronis, he'll hit me. I'll go and he'll go pop. Because he knows the moment my sword reaches here, I'm offline. He's free to throw. So it's a great example. You got different levels. So does the Super Duke move? He absolutely does. He doesn't move much. If he's
Remember that goes down to trying to keep everything, and we talked about this a number of times, keeping everything small. The smaller you are, the easier it is to burst into a shot, to burst into a block, to make a simple block,
to maintain your stance.
to maintain your stance, to be in a good position. Even if I fake with my sword, it's small, I can get it right back. If I fake big, it takes time to get back. So that's why small is very important. So Louis, did you guys go through like the 1 through 6, like fake and?
We did. What we found was you take the box, you take the corners,
Okay.
and then the sides. You now have 6 points.
Yes.
So the box is a 6 point. And then what we did was started with everybody.
Did you break
doing-
it
Like
into
a 1-1.
So I'm telling Bronze this, but I'm doing it so you guys can hear a summary. That was so I look at my cube and I see my my 4 corners and my 2 sides and my 6 spots. This is my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number how makes you happy. So I'm going to go 1-1. So I started by making sure that I'm focused on my opponent, not on my new target, but on my opponent. And then throw number 1, and then the second one. So now that I know how it feels, I'm going to fake the first one and then throw the second. So number 2, 1-2 is going to be 1-3.
Perfect.
And then, so we talked about doing them with throw, fake throw,
Oh, yes.
throw fake,
Oh,
and then like
middle part-
a jab step or a tension,
Nice,
and
Yeah,
then
the
a
middle
throw.
part I didn't get
Perfect.
into a lot because that middle part is limitless. All the steps we did on the ladder, you can put them in here. Okay, so now let's do what was that? Is that 1-3? So we'll do 1-4. So 1-4 was okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my feet. I'm going to do a gather to here. So I'm going to go 1, 2. It's supposed to be a gather, so I'm going to correct it. 1, 2. 1, 2. You see it? You can do that with all of your steps. You could literally go 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, all the way up to 6-6. So 2-1, 2-2, 2-3, all from fixed. You could do them all again with a gather.
You do them with a
You do them all
cross.
again with a cross.
Yeah.
Do them all again with a lunge. Do them all again with a
Switch.
with
Like
the-
triangle step, yeah.
Was it A we were calling?
That was
B
the-
step.
The pendulum step.
Pendulum, yep.
Yep. And then do them with the gather pendulum. Right. So 1, 1. Okay. Now I'm going to do it again because already I'm learning. When I go, I lose my footing. 1, 1. That's better. 1. So this should be a fake. There it is. So you start doing the math.
The key in this one though is the fake. Remember, you're not working so much the throw. This could be all boffer. This is the fake, and this is the piece that Louis covered earlier. There's lots of different ways. You guys started talking about adding tension to it. Louis talked about your fake could be a little bit of sword and a look, and then switch, right? So, you know, use all the pieces that Louis talked about earlier. Try all the different types of fakes. Your goal here is to practice the fake.
Right. So I would do the throw, fake, throw, fake, and then work through all the combinations of the drill, going through the 1 through 6.
And when you get somebody with you, work on that. So the idea is ask them to be your pal for a sec with foam, and literally like, here I go, 1, 1. 1, 1, right? So now you can add. You can add like, now I'm going to add some breath to this one. Hey, bang, right? So now I added a little breath to that, you know? So work it with a person and see how they react, because you're learning a lot. You're learning which fake you did had the most impact. You know, same, use Louis' eye thing, where it's like literally look right through him, like he talked about.
Yeah. You look at a place that you're not going to throw, but you want them to feel like you're about to throw there.
Yep.
Also,
You can affect them. You can connect with them as a person with the same kind of thing. So I never look at the face as the face lies. The shoulders, body, hips, they don't lie. They have to go where the sword never lies, because it can only go where it's going. A sword fake is never a fake. It has to be corrected and then it's gone. So the look he's talking about, I will sometimes use a nebulous look or watch the arm like I usually do, and then suddenly in the middle of it, I'll stop and look them right in the face and then throw, because it's a connection. So they feel all of this, and somebody looks at them and they look back. They literally stop thinking and they look back, and then they get hit.
Yeah, I think he did. All right, so I spent about 3 hours.
yeah.
So
The last thing on the fakes, when you're practicing them, they take a lot of practice. You might feel like you're not making a lot of success with them, and you'll have to learn to refine them over time. But more practice is going to get better results.
yeah, exactly. Good way to put it, Louis. And practice with somebody really gets you good results, because then you can evaluate.
Practice with nobody makes you better than the person who doesn't practice at all.
At all.
Practicing the stuff we're doing puts you ahead of other people that are even practicing more.
Yeah.
So if you guys get a chance to test this out, let us know. Just, you know, hit the list and say, hey, that fake thing worked, how it worked. You know, that's the kind of stuff, that's kind of feedback we want, because then we can tailor it to help each one of you. There's a lot of different things. We haven't been changing any of your throwing, right? But I do want to at some point introduce what a jab is and why we use jabs a lot. So maybe we had something else we were going to cover next week too. I said I'll try to remember what that was.
Put thought into it.
It wasn't the lefty thing. It was something else.
Yeah, it was something off the lefty thing, if I remember right,
Yeah.
too. So I'll try to remember what that was. But next week, maybe we cover a jab a little bit more. Yay. All right.
All right, so we're going to close out here.
Thanks, everyone. Hopefully, I know that today was a little bit more talking day, but I really want everybody to start understanding the big thing here is we've been working towards creating a fight. And that's what I want everyone here to do, is to learn to create that fight. Use your mind, right? This is the best tool you have to win. So, I think Saib's writing somebody back. I hope everybody had a good one there.
Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Please make co-host. Oh, you're making. you can't get out.
I can't end the live stream because I'm not the host.
Okay.
When our computer dropped, it automatically reassigns and it picked you.
Congratulations. She's probably pretty used to being a host, so I'm guessing. Grimmer, it's good to see you.
You're co-host already, so you should be able to do that.
I'm trying and it won't let me. I need you to make.
Hold on.
Grammaticus, I hope that helps you with understanding how your game needs to build, okay?
So you.
Yeah, I think so. It'll just be a bit at a time. It was a big brain dump, so I'm
That was a huge brain dump, yep.
Bye, Facebook.
So,